day, March 27th. It is a packed meeting here, folks. Check it out. Check it out, folks. We've got cameras all over along the wall.
I love your hat.
Oh, thank you so much. We're making California great again. Orange County is they're putting back the orange wall.
Right.
Here we go. Excuse me. So I want you to see, we've got, look at all the media that's here. We've got media everywhere. Hey, okay, I'm live right now. Here we are in Orange County. This is the second step towards stopping sanctuary state, stopping this lawlessness, ending this nullification effort that the state legislature forced on us. Because I've been telling people, I mean, first they say we're going to disregard immigration law. Are they going to start re-enslaving black people next? Just like what the Confederacy tried to do. It's the same thing. Nullification, disregard for the rule of law, disregard for the rights of citizens. It's just untenable. We have got to make it very clear to the board that we want an end to this lawlessness. We want to see every American citizen saved. I've got Marcello here. Marcello, who was killed in Santa Ana, killed by a 5-time deportee, drunk, illegal alien. They had deported him how many times, and he comes back and drives drunk again
lost his life.
And killed. It never ends. Glad you guys made it. So here we go. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
So sorry.
No worries.
So there's the mayor of Huntington Beach. Got your letter. Thank you for taking a stand against Senate Bill 54. Thank you. Here we go. We're waiting for, okay, we've got, there it is. Yeah. The meeting's supposed to start now.
Somewhere. She was parking last.
Gracie?
And
okay.
Genevieve and...
Oh, gosh. Oh, Dean? Dean Silva's here?
Dee.
Oh, Dee. Okay. All right, everybody, we got Hareem here. Yeah, that's it. We showed up. Everybody, really quick, I got to show you this. So, and we've got Congressman Rohrabacher. Thank you for being here, Congressman. Thank you so much for showing support for this effort. Thank you. You wouldn't believe it if I didn't show you guys. That's true representation right there.
I enjoyed your talk.
There's Michelle Steele. She's the supervisor who introduced the amendment to opt out of sanctuary state, rejecting SB 54. There are two major issues that are before the Orange County Board today. I think part of the reason a lot of people are in the room, the contentious issue has to do with the homeless crisis. It is hitting Orange County absolutely terribly. They had to clear out the homeless encampment in Santa Ana right here in the county seat for Orange County. And then they wanted to either divert them to a plot of land in Huntington Beach, Laguna Niguel, or Irvine. The plot of land in Irvine is a toxic dump, and there's something wrong with the land in Irvine, and so everybody was going to end up putting them in Laguna Niguel. There was a massive outcry against it. They were manifestly opposed to this, and so I think the Board of Supervisors is going to scale it back. That's the plan. And the other thing, why Hareem is here, why I'm here, why Robin is here, why they're all here. They are here to, we're here to urge and support the city. We're here to urge the board to reject Senate Bill 54.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Board of Supervisors, we are honored to present a resolution recognizing Autism Awareness Day. We have here today representatives from both the County Healthcare Agency and few of our community partners that serve this population. So I'd love to invite Richard Sanchez, who's been very busy for homeless issue for the last couple of weeks and more than that.
Okay, and that's the mayor of Irvine, Don Wagner.
Nice seeing you.
Starting right now?
Yeah.
And Michael Schrader, that CEO of Cal Optima. Could you come up, please? Dr. Sharps and Dr. Poon from Cal Optima. Patrick Lupe, Regional Center Director of Services. and the members of the Korean American Special Education Center, the Center for Autism and Neurodevelopmental Disorders,
Good news is some of the seats won't
Asian
empty.
and Pacific Islanders with Disabilities of California, and Chinese Parents Association for the Disabled, Japanese-speaking Parents Association of Children and Challenges, OC Autism.
Okay.
As you can see, we are proud to partner with organizations throughout the community to make sure those with autism receive the services they need. In Orange County, nearly 6,500 health disorder. Through there continue to be stereotypes about autism and how a person with autism behaves that hamper individuals' abilities to pursue their goals and attain full inclusion in workplaces and in society at large. It is through our collaborative efforts that we can mitigate these stereotypes in the future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Orange County Board of Supervisors does hereby proclaim April 2nd, 2018 as Autism Awareness Day in Orange County and urge every resident to learn more about the condition in order to generate greater appreciation of the abilities of those with autism, sensitivity toward those on the autism spectrum, and understanding of the unique contribution individuals with autism can and do make in the community. I'd like to invite Richard Sanchez first, and then, you know what, I just call out one by one. So Richard, come on out. You know what?
Thank you, Supervisor Steele.
Just
You know,
as an
autism is
FYI,
something
I'll be
that,
cutting in and out as
with
I
an
take photos.
educational campaign, and I know the county's done a really good job about this, it's a matter of getting the word out there of what we can do to help those with autism. And when it's diagnosed at a young age, then the young children have a really promising future. It's a matter of getting a program in place with the wraparound services. And I know CalOptima, our county HCA department, everyone's really focused on a very large educational campaign to help the families, help the individuals with autism so they can have a really fulfilling future and be part of the workforce and just have a normal life like everyone else. But it's a matter of just getting the word out. So autism awareness, with the day that we have proclaimed for it, is really important for the county. So thank you very much, and keep everybody involved in this major, major issue.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Richard Sanchez. I'm the Director of the Healthcare Agency for the county, and I'd like to thank the board and Supervisor Steele in particular for recognizing the appreciation we need to show for people dealing with autism and mental health disorders, and also reducing the stigma related to those conditions.
Right.
As we bring more awareness to this effort, I think we can make great progress in treatment and other things for this population. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. We're gonna invite Michael.
Sure.
Just want to thank the county and the Regional Center of Orange County and all of those providers in the private sector that deliver the behavioral health therapy services to our CalOptima members, to our children with autism. They do tremendous work, and I think we do it by all working together to serve this important population. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. We're gonna invite Patrick.
My name is Patrick Ruby, and I'm a Director of Services and Supports at Regional Center of Orange County. And I'd like to thank the Board of Supervisors and all of our community partners in the county for helping to make autism really forefront in our thoughts. It's a disorder that affects many individuals in our community, and they need our support. And I have an individual that is affected by autism, and he is on our Board of Directors, and I wanted to invite him up to say just one or two words really quickly. His name is Marcel Bassett.
Yeah, my name is Marcel Bassett, and Patrick he invited me, and I work at IKEA as well, other than board meeting. I would like to say how they work hard to help homeless in Tent City. Their struggle along the way for CalOptima. I want to say how they doing their best to get people out on the street. luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one is Dr. Joe Donnelly.
I'm Joe Donnelly. I'm Medical Director of the Center for Autism and Neurodevelopmental Disorders, which is a public-private partnership with UC Irvine Health, Chalk Children's, and Chapman College of Educational Studies. I'm really proud to be here together with the community organizations that have been recognized because that's what World Autism Awareness Day is all about, bringing people from all over the world together to work in unison to improve the lives of children and families challenged by autism. So thank you to the Board of Supervisors, to my partner organizations, and I'd like to salute all the families who make their own journey every day. Thank you very much.
The last but not the least, Dr. John Kim.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and supervisors and Supervisor Steele. Thank you for inviting us here today. My name is Dr. John Kim. I'm a family physician, having served the community for 27 years. I've had the opportunity to care for many children as well with autism and also young adults as well. I am here on behalf as a board member of Korean American Special Education Center located here serving the greater Los Angeles and Orange County. And I want to thank you for this opportunity to address this issue of autism awareness. April 2nd will be the World Autism Awareness Day. And we are here to be able to serve the community for those special needs children that really need our love and our tenderness and care. And as my t-shirt says, we want to embrace these children. We want to educate the public. We want to empower these kids, not only during their childhood, but into their well adult years, to make them productive members of our society as well, to give them empowerment. As CASAC Group, a member, we have struggled for the past 20 years to be able to provide services for the underserved population here in Orange County. But we've had the privilege of having made some good progress in the sense that we were able to provide speech therapy, music therapy, basketball therapy, and now we're able to provide dance therapy to our children who really need these services to become a very productive member of our society. And we want to thank the Supervisor Steele for this opportunity. We want to give kudos and support to the patients as well as to the family of these people that really need our love and our support. And we need to remove the stigma. And Monday is World Autism Awareness Day. And so we all want to celebrate together as a community. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let's do the photo op.
The other side of the podium, I need you to lean your body in and hold each other. Sideways.
Excuse me. Thank you. Bye. Do you guys have extra signs? Extra signs? Do you have extra signs? I'll bring them to the front. Okay.
Looks like he did.
Extra? Yeah, he has extra. Yeah. And Raul, where is he? Is he here?
He might be an overflow because he went to park the car.
Okay, I'll wait when he shows up. So, okay. Thank you. Thanks, I know how to design.
1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3.
Excuse me. Look great at that. And the There's Raul. Yay! All right.
Right here, right here.
Hey, brother.
Hey, yes. Go over there. Yeah, there you go. Orange County, the Board of Supervisors needs to hear from all of us.
They're coming back. They're in the restaurant.
Yes, they are. They're coming back.
Any seats?
Yeah, she just left.
You guys are okay.
Yes, absolutely. Well, he's armed and ready. So everybody, Supervisor Nelson is running for Congress. Supervisor Steele is probably going to run for Congress after Dana Rohrabacher retires. Hey, Suave. We have no hate, we have no fear.
Save your seat.
Yeah, we are.
S14, I already filled your card out.
Way to go, Robin.
I filled it out.
And if you want, and there are other agendas if you want, they're blue papers right there.
I did not do one for mine.
Okay, what's it? S what? 14?
S14A.
S14A.
You got it, yeah. Raphael, over here. Over here. Hey. Come on over here. Over here. Over here. Thanks, Raphael. I'm glad you made it. Okay.
But I'm not gonna make any public comment today. You know, Arthur, I'm really tired.
Okay, that's fine. I understand. Hey, Robin.
I'm behind you, Arthur.
Yay! Okay, I feel really safe now. So nobody can jump me.
That's right. I got your back.
Where's Nowie? Where's our wonderful brown supremacist friend? Where are, the heifers aren't here either. Is Vaughn coming?
I didn't see him.
Had a medical procedure.
Oh, jeez.
To Korea. He'll definitely.
Ari,
Yeah. Do you want me to go back there?
I'm live. Okay, just letting you know. Okay. Okay, sorry. Yay, Raphael made it. Yay. He's working in the area now. Okay. Oh, you can feel the roaring crowd. Okay, give me a sec here. I'll be right back, folks.
Pleasure and rise as we initially join the invocation led by Supervisor Steele. That'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Supervisor Spitzer.
Let's bow our heads. Dear Lord, we have a lot of important issues ahead of us today. Please give us the wisdom to make a right choice for Orange County. And please watch over our servicemen and women who protect our country and our freedom. And in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Good morning. Would you please join me in honoring our flag and recognize that we're the United States of America?
Yes.
And we need to remain in the United County of Orange County, California. Ready to begin.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
All right, thank you, Supervisors Spitzer and Steele.
Thank you.
Obviously, we have a little bit of a crowded house this morning. Just to give you some idea of how we'll get through it, we have a consent calendar, which is usually very quick. And the next item that we will move to will be later in the agenda. It's labeled as S14E, but it's otherwise the homeless issue, so we'll take that first.
Awesome.
There are a number of speakers that have turned in slips. If you haven't already, you're certainly welcome to. due to the number, we'll figure out the math. We have a number of electeds with us. We'll get through you folks first because you come down to represent your community, and then we'll get to the speakers. Let those folks clear out, and we'll move on with the rest of our daily agenda. So with that, we'll move to the consent calendar. Any request to pull any items, Supervisor Spitzer? Supervisor Steele?
Yes, item 1,
Supervisor
please.
Bartlett, yes. Which item?
Item 1.
Yes. All right, do we have a motion on the ballot?
Supervisor Bartlett.
We do have a request from public to pull item number 4.
Oh, thank you for that.
Oh, shoot.
All right. So we are 2 and 3. Supervisor Steele, you move that.
Yes. Second.
Any questions or comments? Any opposed? All right, that moves. Those passed, both present. Item number 1, Supervisor Bartlett, is Orange County Planning Commission. The appointment of David Bartlett of Ladera Ranch for a term concurrent with the 5th Supervisor's term in office.
Yes, we have an outstanding candidate for the Orange County Planning Commission, David Bartlett, but I just want to have a disclaimer that David Bartlett is not a relation to Lisa Bartlett.
Okay.
And with that, I move this item. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion, second. Any further questions or comments? Any opposed? All right, that passes with all members present. Item number 4, why don't we invite the speaker forward? This is to approve sponsorship of the Rossmore Homeowners Association Neighborhood Watch. Per Government Code Section 26227, find that it will serve the public purpose and meet the social needs of the population, and the county and staff may solicit donations of funds and services for such events. Who is our speaker?
Brigitte.
And this requires a county approval because it's an unincorporated area. Rossmore is unincorporated. Okay, got it.
All right, front and center.
A bad decision, if not arrested, will multiply to an even greater bad decision. The buzz you see here is a result of this board making a heck of a lot of bad decisions. Let's look at this topic we're looking at right now. It's about putting a sign on a pole that says neighborhood watch. You guys are being sued by the federal government. You guys got 200 deaths of riverbeds, innocent souls that did nothing but try to live their lives. You guys have been made a mockery of this chamber. And the best thing you guys could do is do a Phil Hendry, be quarantined like Typhoid Mary 103 years ago today to not spread. You guys play this game, you make a decision, Emily Latella, never mind. Saturday Night Live is right here. Everything you do, we got it. The last time I was at this church chat, I had to come up to the microphone and the chairman had to vacate his order because they didn't call me. Hello, you-hoo, and then redo it again. And with all due respect, this is about public protection. If you don't respect the sheriff, then the people ain't gonna respect the police. And you make their job harder. The chairman addressed the sheriff by first name. Yo, homie. If that was a male, you think that the chairman would address the female with the first name? No. You guys are sexist. Number one, that a sergeant at arms could probably wipe the floor with Chairman Doe, and Doe calls her by the first name. You guys got to start showing respect here before the people start showing respect. This is a sum total of a lot of bad decisions by this board, and guess what? It's imploding. You can't stop it. Controlled demolition, free fall speed of a 100-story building on its own footprint is about to happen. And you guys, all 5 of you, can't say, oh, I'm off the reservation. All 5 of you are culpable. Bad decision, if not arrested, will only escalate.
Sure.
So I want to thank Supervisor Steele for her leadership. This is a very unfortunate but understandable phenomenon in our county now that all of our citizens are having to take back their communities. Crime is up 25% in our county. Violent crime is off the charts. Property crime is off the charts. So the fact of the matter is that neighborhoods have to do this. I just got a notice in my neighborhood the other day of a community watch meeting or neighborhood watch meeting for all my neighbors, and I plan to attend. So the fact is, we're not safe in our communities. People know that. There's stuff's being stolen, people are being assaulted.
Yep.
Auto theft is up, everybody knows that.
Yep.
And so this is a very, very necessary action. And I thank Supervisor Steele for her leadership. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further questions or comments? If not, any opposed? Seeing none, that passes with all members present. All right, that brings us, as promised, to, we're going to jump ahead to S14E. This is the item brought by Supervisor Steele and Supervisor Bartlett. The action is requested to rescind all board actions taken at the special meeting on 3/19/18, authorize the expenditure of $78.5 million of Mental Health Services Act Community Services and Support Funds for acquisition and/or renovation of properties for supportive housing for mentally ill, direct staff to return to the board with proposals, authorize staff to execute contract with American Family Housing for 12 additional housing units to accommodate couples. Supervisor Steele or Bartlett, would either of you care to tee this up, and we will then move to the speakers.
Okay. So first of all, I know we have a lot of speakers who want to come forward to the podium today, but in reviewing and reflecting on things, first of all, I want to express my deepest apologies to the cities of Laguna Niguel, Irvine, and Huntington Beach. The cities do want to be informed. They want to have local control. The residents need public safety, especially for the children, and we all recognize that fact. I'm also sorry for the demoralization of every nonprofit and community group that has been working hard to solve homelessness. We're going to work together collaboratively, and we're going to get through this. There's been a lack of clear information, and it's caused unnecessary panic. Many of the elected officials and residents are personal friends of mine, and the last thing I wanted to do was to harm them and put them in harm's way. It's preposterous, really, that I would do that. The truth is, nothing has happened. No homeless have been transferred to Irvine, Huntington Beach, or Laguna Niguel. We only began a process, and any of these sites could have been eliminated through collaboration with our city partners. If you take a look at the minute order from March 19th, all the county wanted to do was basically to start a discussion to collaborate with cities and residents for feedback, and I'm deeply committed to start that partnership. Nothing was approved or built, and no homeless were ever relocated to any of the cities. Unfortunately, panic ensued at the start of the process, and at this point, I do have some questions for our CEO, Frank Kim. Okay, so CEO Kim, what was your interpretation of the minute order for March the 19th?
So my understanding from the board is that the board directed me to begin the process for planning for how temporary shelter could be established within the various sites. So to that effect, we began discussions with a potential operator for what a management operation plan might look like for those kinds of locations and sites, and based on the current need that we have. Additionally, we began looking at the site to identify whether we had needs for additional grading, whether we needed to lay asphalt, what kind of structures we might place there, the need for temporary fencing, those kinds of issues. So that planning process has begun, but to date we've not obviously completed any of those activities.
Yeah, and did you have any authority to construct anything at all?
My understanding from the board is that before any homeless individuals would be placed in any of those sites, that I would have to bring back to your board a management operational plan, a contract with an operator, etc. So there's no specific site work has been done at this time.
Okay, and a lot of people ask why the county is trying to build emergency shelters in the first place. Can you answer that question?
In terms of the reason for the emergency shelters is that the county several years ago began in earnest to really assertively and aggressively construct out our system of care because the homeless individuals have a number of different challenges, and not any one different component, whether it's mental services, physical health services, employment services, etc. Not any one of these services can address all the various reasons for why individuals are in their condition. So the county began building out a system of care, and the front end of that is a low barrier homeless shelter, such as a courtyard and a slightly like a step 2 shelter in Bridges at Kramer Place. And the purpose of those shelters is to bring individuals in that are suffering from the condition of homelessness and attach to them services, address their physical well-being, address their mental health challenges, employment, connect them to general relief, CalFresh, all those county services that we are responsible for, and stabilize the individual. And at that point, transition them into permanent supportive housing, which exists within cities, and then following that, transition from permanent supportive housing into low-income housing. So that is kind of the circle of life in terms of how the county system of care should operate. The challenge for the county is that when we began this process, based on the number of homeless individuals from the 2017 point in time count, we did not have a sufficient number of shelter beds to address all of those concerns. And part of the reason is because our system flow is not adequate. So they come into our shelters and they're staying in our shelters for 6 months or longer. And the whole purpose and a well-functioning system of care has these individuals in our system, and once they're connected and they are stable, they should transition to the next phase and the phase after. So the need for the front-end shelter beds is growing because we're not able to transition or exit people out of our first-line low-barrier shelters. So that is part of the challenge.
Okay, so in developing a shelter plan, what kinds of tools do we have as a county to assure a high level of public safety? And of course, could the county and the cities work together on a specific safety program?
I think every site is unique, and we absolutely have to take into consideration the concerns of the local jurisdiction. So management operational plan would identify things like operating hours, the type of individuals that would be served, the type of rules that might be in place, the number and the number of individuals that the site would house, things like that. So I know that I did call a meeting with the 3 city managers associated with the sites that were identified on the 19th, and we had preliminary discussion about how the process would work if the board supported moving forward with those sites. So that process has to be done in collaboration with the local jurisdiction.
Okay, and then in some cases, instead of emergency shelters, would it be a better idea to engage in a discussion about veterans or women's domestic violence housing? You know, we have needs in those areas as well.
We absolutely have a need, and as I mentioned earlier, there is not one single reason for homelessness. So the ability to create shelters that would support each of those classifications, veterans, at-risk women, those are all important, and they're still necessary. In fact, recently the county issued a contract with Wise Place in Santa Ana here for 60 women's beds. And my understanding is, as of yesterday, I believe over 40 of those beds were filled almost immediately within the last 30 days. So we know that that is an area of need in the community, and we're happy that we're able to execute that, and we appreciate City of Santa Ana's support in making that happen very quickly.
Right, and I think some of the other cities are wanting to volunteer in regard to certainly the women's domestic violence issues and for veterans as well. I know that there are a lot of people that are against perhaps the county's proposed ideas, but we want to welcome all of the ideas about solving homelessness. This is just not a county plan, it's a collaborative plan with the county, the cities, all of the stakeholders working together. We're committed to collaboration as a county, and the counties and the cities have a really unique opportunity to move things forward on April the 3rd. So I look forward to the discussions on that date. Thank you. I'll end my comments at this point.
All right, Supervisor Steele.
I just want to ask that, Frank, how many motel populations still left?
In the motel?
As of yesterday, we had 112, and then we've been working on it. So how many?
So I believe your question is of the number that we transitioned from the flood channel into motel, how many are remaining? Right. So today we have planned exits for 10 individuals from motels and into our system of care. And then tomorrow we have planned exits for 60. And once those 2 are done, we'll be complete with the motel transition.
So how many beds are available in?
So those beds change daily, but from, I can give you the numbers from yesterday. So we had approximately, let me get my sheet out. And again, these numbers are not today, but they're from one day prior, since usually I get those updates about 10 in the morning. So our full service partnership beds, these are beds that support the mentally ill. We had 48 beds available. At Kramer, we had 47 beds available.
Hold on, just a moment. Anybody want to get their cell phone? Care to share with us, or can we proceed? Guys, we've all been in crowded rooms. You don't need the admonition, I don't think, right? Everyone has a silence button. It's probably a good idea to use it. Just thank you very much. Go ahead, Frank, sorry.
Certainly. So our full service partnership beds, 48 beds. Bridges at Kramer Place was 47. The Courtyard was at 76 availability, and Wise Place was 27. And in addition to that, the county does have access to additional beds that are within the community that we contract with through CityNet, but many of them have restrictions, so we generally don't list those on our list of availability. We did transition out 60 individuals yesterday, so some of those beds that I just mentioned may have been used in that process, and I'll have updates that flow to us throughout the day. So we believe that we have adequate bed capacity to address the existing motel transitions. My understanding from council and the challenges that we have in front of us is with the Plaza, the Flags population that we've been asked to address, that's approximately 175 additional individuals. So depending upon what remains at the completion of our motel transition, we'll continue to try to identify additional bed capacity as needed.
So what you're saying is we have enough beds for those populations that have been removed from the riverbed?
So far from the motel population, the stipulation that we agreed to was that we would complete our clinical assessment, and based on the assessment, we would identify within our system of care the most appropriate bed. So those have all been offered, and again, not every individual has accepted the placement opportunity. And when that occurs, we do offer them access to one of our low barrier shelters. And if you refuse those options, then obviously you're not coming into our system of care, and we hope that you'll reconsider that in the future. But within what we have in terms of takedown from hotels, we believe that we'll have sufficient capacity to complete that by Wednesday.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Supervisor Spitzer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm holding up a lawsuit that was filed, apparently it's been filed on Monday, indicating that the board violated the Brown Act. And when we met to discuss locations, apparently, and I'm not going to opine, but there's an allegation that the locations weren't properly noticed so that no particular city could know where we were potentially contemplating, potentially siting shelters. I really appreciate what Supervisor Bartlett said this morning. Her words are not easy. I mean, for any of us who are in elective office, and we've got a lot of colleagues here who represent cities, to stand up in a public forum and indicate that maybe with further reflection you might have done things differently, that somebody like that should actually be congratulated and celebrated. That's not an easy admission. I said Monday when we left Judge Carter's court here, sitting in this exact seat, that if we rushed our decisions, we would make bad decisions. I told Judge Carter last week that we are potentially making bad decisions because we're moving too quickly and we're not communicating effectively with the jurisdictions, our compadres, if you will, the men and women who lead our cities. And if the ACCOC is going to build 2,700 units throughout the jurisdiction, throughout the county, and Judge Carter, let's emphasize and underscore what he said. There needs to be an equal distribution throughout the county. Can't be one city's burden, and it needs to change. And I agree wholeheartedly with him about that. And on April 3rd, I'm inviting all the 3rd district cities. I'm sending out a letter today asking you all to be there. If you haven't been there in Judge Carter's court at his invitation, you need to be there. You need to be part of this conversation. The only way we're going to resolve this is transparent, excellent, forthright communication. Number 2, we have a duty to protect public safety. Yes. And I know I've taken some heat about my conversations about an area that I know a lot about. I authored the legislation that put in place for the entire state of California, the Sex Offender Management Board. And in 2008, I wrote the law that put the Megan's Law website on the internet. So now you can go on the Attorney General's website and you can see where those people live in our communities. We have to ensure that no matter what we do, we've had these conversations with all of you. To just say we're going to do something without a plan does scare the community. And so we need to think about that. And I have compiled all that data for the entire county. I called the Department of Corrections and found out how many sex offenders they're monitoring. I called probation, and I have now at least what I believe is a complete picture of what we're doing. We have over 46 felons in Orange County who cut off their GPS monitor.
Oh.
They've absconded from parole supervision. So I'm not going to dwell on this now because I appreciate what my colleagues have said about fear-mongering, but I also am going to push back on that and make it clear that when we did Kramer in my district, when I went into that community, I was insistent that we had a policy about how we were going to deal with Kramer and sex offenders before we met with the community, so I could tell the community what the rules were going to be before we were going into the community to talk about Kramer. And lastly, Mr. Kim, I need to push back a little bit because Supervisor Bartlett asked you a very, very important question. And that was, what was your understanding of the direction of the board when we voted 4-1 with me dissenting about what your instructions were? Last Friday, I was sitting out in front of a building because I've been driving around my district looking for vacant buildings and to be part of the solution, and I sent you photos of that building. And I texted you and I said, hey, I just come to my attention that Supervisor Steele and Supervisor Bartlett have filed an ASR to rescind the actions. I said, are you still planning on pulling your permits in Irvine on Monday for grading? You texted me back, yes. We have a 4-1 vote to move forward, but you indicated to me that it would probably take several days for the city of Irvine to respond to your Monday grading permit request. I pushed back on you then. I said, do you think it's wise to wait on pulling the grading permits on Monday until we meet today on Tuesday to discuss this issue? Because if you're going to rescind it, why do further damage to the damage that's already been created when I told everybody last week that you had told me that you were going to pull permits on Monday? And you indicated I have a 4-1 vote and I have a direction I've got to move forward. Let me just say this before we get to public comment.
But you said lastly.
I said to Judge Carter, this is really very serious. This is no joke. We need a solution. The only way we're going to get there is if we pull together. If we have dissension and fighting either on this board or in your cities, all we're doing is harming ourselves. We will never be able to work together and find a solution. It's going to take everybody rowing in the same direction. Judge Carter is acting as a catalyst, which we've never seen in this county before, to solve a problem that absolutely
Todd
needs
Spitzer
solving.
is running for DA.
We are all
against Tony
compassionate,
Dukakis.
empathetic, and
So
caring
he's running
people.
for office.
And we need,
That's why
and
he's
we
talking
know
so
we
much.
want to do the right thing. So I plan to support this rescission, but let's understand something, because I'm getting the calls. If we rescind it today, does that mean in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, everybody's going to push it back into Irvine, probably over my objection? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what the future holds. But I'm telling you, if we vote and we have the votes to rescind this action today, to cure the allegations of a Brown Act violation and start from scratch, if you will, then we need to have a commitment from the cities that you'll be in Judge Carter's court on April 3rd, and that we will commit back to you, this will never happen again. We will not communicate like this again. We will not do that again. And I think if you heed the word, please, we don't allow clapping, sorry. If you heed the words of Supervisor Bartlett, where she said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry too. We're all sorry. We can do better. We know we can do better. We're a big county. We're a smart county. We're an influential county. The nation is watching us, and they should.
Yes,
and
they
we
are.
need to put roofs over people's heads, not tents.
And put
we need to put
real
Americans
shelter,
first, not tents. So
and put
I'm
Americans
looking forward
first.
to the comments, but please understand, don't yell at us today. We understand your testimony.
Too late.
Put your comments on the record and understand.
right, so at this point, we're going to move to comments. Madam Clerk, perhaps for some management, do you have a sense of our electeds, many of which I know are sitting in the front row, but for all I know, some are completely in the back. Do you have those segregated out?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How many of those do we have? Don't mean to put you on the spot here.
We've got Congressman Rohrabacher right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
13.
Okay, and then just a sense of the general public comment.
Total, including the electeds, is 90.
Okay, so the balance is like 87. So folks, here's what my suggestion is, and Supervisor Doe is out of the state, so I'm running the meeting, and why don't we do this? For the electeds, and you're all sitting up front anyway, we will call you forward. We'll set the timer at 2 minutes, so we'll have a half hour of testimony from our elected officials, and then following that, it sounds like we'll have about an hour and a half if we just do 1 minute at a time. So as we get to those, excuse me, we'll try to call people 5 at a time, and I know some people are in the back, you can see us, but if you hear your name called, just go ahead and come forward, and it's okay if you're you're not in the particular order you were called in. We understand that you have to get up and kind of make your way here. So just listen up for your name. She'll call kind of 5 at a time, and just line up. We have a center row here with some media people, but we should be able to get this done in an orderly fashion. So with that, Madam Clerk, why don't you call the first 3 elected officials, and we'll welcome them to the microphone.
Congressman Dana Rohrabacher, Mayor Don Wagner,
Yay, Dana.
and Councilman Juan Villegas.
We got Congressman Rohrabacher. Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Well, good morning. I was expecting a little bit more than 2 minutes, but I'll try. Try my best. This is an important issue, obviously. And yes, we need to take care of our homeless people who have mental disabilities and our veterans who are having problems having returned from the service. First and foremost, let me note, it is not up to us to house the veterans who we care for. It is up to the Veterans Administration to take care of that.
Yep.
Not to be put in our residential areas, people who've got these troubles, but instead the Veterans Administration should take care of those. By providing money, right now, what you're talking about, $70 million, you're taking away from the necessity of dealing with that problem. Let us just note the whole effort about dealing with the homeless.
This is Congressman
Has
Rohrabacher.
been exacerbated by the fact that federal law now is designating drug addicts and alcoholics as being disabled. So what we're doing now is providing drug addicts and alcoholics to be brought in large numbers here because we're going to take care of them. This is exactly the wrong thing to do. People need to start in that condition. They need to make decisions in their lives, and by feeding them and giving them housing, we have taken away from the pressure for them to make good decisions in their own lives. And we have called people, asked people from all over the country, and yes, all over the world, to come here and to dump their people who are having alcoholic and drug addiction problems, and to dump them here for us to take care of. That's wrong.
Yep.
We shouldn't be doing this. We should be taking Judge Carter's orders and appealing it all the way to the Supreme Court.
Those are people.
Yes.
Those are people.
We are people.
We are people. Sir, I'm a drug addict. I have not touched methamphetamine for 3 years. And you're going to tell me I don't matter?
Sir, if you'd like to stay, you will not do that again.
This is extremely offensive.
One more time, and you'll be enjoying the meeting from the curbside, which is your option. It's okay. Just understand, if you want to be here and you're welcome, you're going to be polite. We hear things that people say that don't agree with us all the time. You're going to have to do a better job of managing it.
And he's a single
If you
parent
can't,
too.
it's okay. You're just going to be doing it on your own, not in our meeting.
Sorry, this man's just full of shit. So
Whoa. Out. A flag.
Sober living homes have
Shame on you.
exacerbated this problem. The fact that we now have drug addicts and alcoholics. And yes, we consider drug addicts and alcoholics human beings, but we have to first care for those human beings who have made right decisions and have families that need to be protected against that type of influence in their very residential neighborhoods. No,
Right on.
I support your efforts to try to deal with this problem. As I say, with the veterans, we need to go to the Veterans Administration, but we do not need to force residential communities in our area and other people bringing in drug addicts and alcoholics from elsewhere to be the burden of the people of Orange County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you, Congressman. All right, Dana. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Vice Chair.
Mayor Don
Thank you.
Wagner.
Let me begin with a sincere thank you on behalf of the people of Irvine. As all of you know, but for the record, I'm Mayor Don Wagner from Irvine. And on behalf of the
I went to
folks
UC
in
Irvine.
I want
Go
to
Anteaters.
thank especially Supervisor Bartlett and Steele for bringing forward this item to rescind last week's action. And I heard what you said, Supervisor Bartlett, and very much appreciate it. And Supervisor Spitzer, very much appreciate it. The way forward is collaborative. Let me just talk for a moment about the site in Irvine that was chosen. Some of you may know this, you probably do, but again, for the record, that is not a site that you would put human beings on given your choices, because it remains about 41%, 41.88 acres, remains under control of the Department of the Navy, and is in the process of being cleaned up after decades of dumping toxic materials there. It is not a place fit for human habitation, if only because of the chemicals, but there's very much more that's wrong with that site. In addition to the chemical contamination, it is a site that has no running water, it is not plumbed, it has no sewers, it has no electricity, it has no gas, it has no sidewalks, it has no built-out infrastructure at all, and it is, of course, about a quarter of a mile from a residential neighborhood. It is across the street from a park where on Saturday I was there watching a young man and his children fly kites, and soccer fields, etc., that are extraordinarily valuable to the community and used. So it's not a site that immediately says we need a homeless shelter here, or as you're contemplating, not a shelter but a tent city. Furthermore, for the homeless, it is not an area that is in the least bit close to mental health facilities, other health facilities. It's nowhere close to job placement or job training services. What I will say, though, is that the city of Irvine otherwise has been enormously generous in terms of its response to the homeless. I don't have time to go through everything the city has done, but we have already contributed 10 and have budgeted $30 million to building affordable housing units in Irvine. There are already 4,000 such units online. We are home to a number of organizations that are on the front lines of dealing with the homeless. We're home to Families Forward. We're home to Second Harvest Food Bank. We're home to a number of other organizations to which Irvine residents contribute greatly to help solve the homeless problem and make the lives of the homeless that much easier. There are a whole bunch of other things I could talk about. Our police department, we have 2 officers dedicated. I will close on this. Irvine has been very generous in its response, but we are not done. I will be in court on August 3rd. I couldn't make the last one because my daughter got married that day. I'll be in court on August 3rd. I directed staff to come up, April 3rd, to directed staff to come up with some alternate locations. Irvine is pledged to be part of the solution. I urge adoption of this resolution, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, our next speaker.
After Councilman Juan Villegas, the next 3 speakers are Councilman Jose Solario, Mayor Mike Posey, and Councilmember Billy O'Connell.
Vice Chair Nelson, Honorable Board, thank
morning,
you for
sir.
allowing us to join you this morning. My name is Juan Villegas, Councilman for the City of Santa Ana. I have for you today a letter on behalf of our council and our mayor. I'd like to enter it into the record, and I know we have a very short time, so the letter just states that we applaud your decision from the board from March 19th. It also supports Judge Carter's decision to ask for more resources and have all the other cities in Orange County step up and help with this issue. And in regards to the city of Santa Ana, we have taken the brunt of this issue. I don't have to sell it. You all know here, you all work here in the city, and we have taken the brunt for decades. And our residents deserve to feel safe, and we want public safety also. That's right. Just like everyone else.
That's right.
No more sanctuary cities.
In 2017,
Exactly.
the city, the
They're a sanctuary
Police
city.
Department responded to well over
Shame on them.
10,000
That's
calls
why.
regarding the homeless.
Including Marcello.
And also in that same year, Orange County Fire Authority responded to a little over 2,400 calls for service, people who identified as homeless. And those are services on both sides, whether public safety or the medical, that the city is not receiving. Our residents are not receiving. So we are looking forward to continue collaboration and dialogue with the county and all the other cities to step up. And I thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much.
What about Marcello?
Stepping to the mic is Councilmember Jose Solario.
Good morning, and we stay within our time. We're going to
Good morning,
keep doing that. Good morning, I'm City Council Member Jose Solario. I'm also here on behalf of our City Council with two quick thank yous and an offer for help. First, thank you for trying to identify new shelters in multiple areas of the county. Our homeless population comes from our different areas, and so we need housing, shelters, and services in every region of our county. Thank you also for your commitment to helping us clear out the Civic Center area and provide real housing and services for the individuals currently living there. Finally, I know that in addition to finding housing and service solutions to the homeless, we also need sustainable funding sources from Sacramento. Because you're also limited really in your resources. And not only do you need sustainable resources, but less strings attached. We need less strings attached, and we on the San City Council have Democratic allies and Republican allies in Sacramento. So I want to be up there and my colleagues lobbying alongside with you in Sacramento for sustainable funding sources, but more importantly, less strings attached. Because too often we hear the resources are there, and sure, some resources are there, but too many strings attached, and we need to cut through the red tape and help find real solutions, housing and service solutions for all our homeless in Orange County. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, can I ask Jose real quick?
Yes.
Last night I watched the gubernatorial debate, and Delane Easton said something that was music to my ears. She said if she was elected, she won't be, but if she was elected, she said, first day I get in office as governor, I will declare a state of emergency for the entire state of California on homelessness. I just want you to answer a question. You represented, you have relationships. Why are we fighting this one county at a time? Why isn't the state of California stepping up and helping counties? We can't do this alone, Jose. What can you just comment? Why isn't the governor stepping up and declaring?
Shame on Jerry Brown.
I think a big part of it is, unlike what we're doing here in Orange County, all the other counties have not ripped off the Band-Aid yet. They are taking very small incremental approaches, and we need to come up there with
Sanctuary
solutions.
city.
Everyone comes up there with problems, but if we can come up with solutions and where the red tape can be cut, that's where we'll find real relief. And I know you have.
You guys
a lot
are a
of
sanctuary
experience,
city.
Supervisor Spitzer, obviously, and I look forward to partnering with you and the rest of your colleagues here and in Sacramento. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Mr. Solario, you guys are a sanctuary city. That's why.
They're not.
Good morning, esteemed members of the board.
You're a sanctuary city.
Oh, thanks. My name is Mike Posey. I'm the mayor of Huntington Beach. And I wanted to start by thanking Supervisor Bartlett and Supervisor Steele for their courageous move this morning in moving forward for the rescission. I also want to compliment
Mayor of Huntington
Supervisor
Beach.
Michelle Steele, too, for her daily personal phone calls to me as this drama unfolded last week. And for 2 weeks prior, meeting with CEO Frank Kim and Michelle Steele and some other elected officials, too, to discuss this very important issue. Since my time was cut back, I'll work on my, I'll shorten it up. Most of what I'm going to talk about was a little bit about what we already agree. The site in Huntington Beach is ill-suited for relocation, so I wanted to talk about what we're doing, what the city of Huntington Beach is doing. And we take homelessness serious. It's a beach community. We're, I guess, kind of an attractant because of the climate and the sand. But what we did in 2015, we created a homeless task force. And that homeless task force is 2 police officers, full-time, tasked with building relationships with our Huntington Beach homeless. What they do is work hand-in-hand with 3 case managers and a social worker in the city of Huntington Beach. What they've done since the inception of this program is assisted and housed 172 people. We have a fluid population of 200 to 250 people that are homeless at any given time in Huntington Beach. We find that about 25% of those are service acceptant and about 75% are service resistant. Those that are service resistant, our homeless task force works very diligently in building personal relationships with them, eventually finding that they do become service acceptant. So we do have a pretty good success rate. We've also found that spending that kind of money to assist the homeless is an economically sustainable model. It costs a lot more to deal with the homeless than it does to deal with the housed. Emergency room services, calls for service for police, daily calls for the same people for the same thing. So what we're doing that. We're also working with expanding our public-private partnerships with nonprofits like Mercy House, Orange County Rescue Mission, Veterans Administration that Congressman Rohrabacher mentioned.
Go Dana.
We're working with developers to create additional housing for veterans and seniors. We, 3 years ago, built a project called Oceana, which is on Beach Boulevard, next door to DeLillo Chevrolet. 77 units, all affordable, all full, 1,500 or 1,600 applicants for that. We're expanding our partnerships with the county, which is you, that's why we're here. We're also, we also recognize that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. So I would invite any of the cities that are here, my elected official colleagues, if you want to work with us, learn our best practices. I brought one copy, and I'll send PDFs to everybody on the board. We had our Huntington Beach plan to address homelessness. This was an update given to the city council it was Monday, a week ago today. 40-something pages. It details the economics and basically just reviews everything I just said.
Thank you.
So we're doing our part. Thank you.
After Councilmember Billy O'Connell, the next three speakers are Councilmember Lynn Semeta, Councilmember Fred Miniger, and Councilmember Lori Davies.
Councilman.
Good morning, Vice Chair, Supervisor Bartlett, Supervisor Steele, and Todd Spitzer. Thank you so much for what you do in our community. And I'm here as a city council member from the city of Huntington Beach. Also, I'm the executive director of Collis Children's Homes, which provides housing support services to homeless women and children throughout Orange County. And I've shared some information which I think will give you a quick overview of how we can work together and how we can better serve the homeless community and the entire community. I just want to share some real quick information with you. In 2013, the Orange County Continuum of Care had 26 transitional housing projects supported by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. With the 2015 NOVA announcement, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development eliminated funding for all transitional housing beds throughout Orange County, which was 800 beds. Now, these transitional housing beds had a multiplier factor. Basically, one of these beds could be turned 2 and 3 times a year, and we predicted there would be a huge increase in homeless because of this. The elimination of funding occurred outside congressional action and federal regulation through the annual NOVA process. As of 2016, the amount of HUD funding awarded for the administration systems was $2,208,926, which was nearly equal to the funding that was eliminated for the 2015 for the 800 transitional housing beds. From 2013 to 2017, HUD's Continuum of Care program funding increased 40% from $16,398,000 to $23 million. From 2013 to 2017, overall homeless increased 13%. Despite the increase in HUD's Continuum of Care program funding, the number of unsheltered homeless increased 54%. The number of sheltered homeless decreased 14%. The 2017 Orange County point in time shows that 59% of the total homeless households with children on the night of the count were sheltered in transitional housing programs. Recent HUD policy and founding priorities have placed a dual burden on the homeless by limiting who is eligible for assistance and by enforcing a housing first model that restricts providers, limits necessary services, and eliminates participants' accountability. Homeless individuals and families are not eligible for permanent supportive housing. Chronically homeless with disabling conditions or rapid rehousing barriers to entry are high recidivism, as referred in Orange County as being the bubble. The combined lack of affordable housing, the elimination of transitional housing, the eligibility requirements for permanent supportive housing, and the absence of emergency shelters has left the increased number of homeless with fewer options, while ever increasing the cost of taxpayers and the federal government. What we believe is the county should look at transitional housing, interim housing, that gets people off the streets into housing where they can get the help. Also, we believe that we should see some more mental health beds, and we definitely do agree with Supervisor Steele and Bartlett that putting homeless on a contaminated site in Huntington Beach is not the right thing to do.
We're here to help you. We're here to support you. Thank you for what we're doing and you are doing. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Lynn Sametta.
She didn't make it.
Councilmember Fred Miniger.
Good morning, Mr. Vice Chair Nelson.
Good morning,
Board of
welcome.
Supervisors. It's a pleasure for me to be here this morning to talk about the site at the city of Laguna Niguel. My wife and I chose to move to the city of Laguna Niguel about 30 years ago because it's a very special place to live. I care deeply about the beautiful community. When I served as the mayor of the city of Laguna Niguel last year, I begged your county CEO, Mr. Frank Kim, to try one more time to try to come to an agreement for building us a downtown arts center. And I never begged. I never dreamed that a decision would be made to place a homeless encampment on the same land that we so strongly supported for a town center. As a longtime public servant, I'm not going to allow any decisions that would jeopardize the quality of life here. I'm compassionate to the plight of homeless individuals. We pay plenty of taxes to the federal, state, and county government to take care of them in a humane fashion. I would like to see my taxes at work in a positive manner to help homeless individuals, not to place them in tents. A tent city in the center of Laguna Niguel is unacceptable.
Yes.
Safety is job one. It is my highest priority. Sustaining the beautiful quality of life here is a close second priority of mine. Having a homeless encampment located near a daycare center, a school bus stop, the library, homes, and a 660 elementary school goes against both of these priorities. I want you to know that the residents to know that I will do everything I can to make sure that it doesn't happen here, and we come up as a county, unified, all the 34 cities, to do the best for our homeless population. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Supervisor Bartlett.
Yes,
Thank you.
Councilmember Minigar, just one moment. I want to have either our CEO or our CEO of real estate respond. We do have, the RFP is out on the street for the town center site, and just want to indicate how the process is going and the response date. So either CEO of real estate or CEO can respond.
Good morning, Vice Chair, members of the board, Scott Mayor, County Executive Office. Supervisor Bartlett, you are correct. We have requests for proposals out to the private sector for a new town center in the heart of Laguna Niguel. We actually have a site tour tomorrow. We've invited all those interested to appear to discuss the project with us, and we are accepting proposals on May 23rd of this year.
Great, thank you. It's important to get that update so the community at large knows what's going on. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Minigar.
Thank you, Supervisor Bartlett.
After Councilmember Laura Davies, the next three speakers are Mayor Elaine Genoway, Mayor Pro Tem John Mark Jennings, and City Manager Raul Godinez.
Good morning, Board.
Good
I want
morning.
to thank you, first of all, for bringing this back onto the agenda, so thank you for that. Unfortunately, the public wasn't given an opportunity last Monday to have their voices heard before the board voted on naming Laguna Niguel, Huntington Beach, and Irvine as possible locations for temporary homeless camps. There are overwhelming reasons why Laguna Niguel County Courthouse property needs to be rescinded. The city of Laguna Niguel is not an appropriate location to use as a temporary homeless camp. Our city does not offer the homeless the social services that they need, as well as we have very limited mobility options for them to get to where the services are offered. When it comes to our city, safety is our #1 priority. The camp will be within steps of a daycare facility and minutes from an elementary school and our library. All you have to do is look what happened to Tustin City Library. The homeless took over. I have friends that won't let their children go there because they are bathing into the bathrooms and doing drugs.
Oh.
It is inconceivable that our supervisors would put our children, seniors, and families in such extreme danger. The county has had years to address this issue when it was still manageable. All you need to do is look outside the door of this building, and it's clear that you have turned a blind eye on the homeless, and now you want to move them into our cities. In the past, the Board of Supervisors has been fairly unified, especially when it came to the safety and concerns of its taxpayers. It's time the board comes together as one. I hope and pray that you would truly hear the deep concerns that come before you today and will rescind your decision to consider Laguna Niguel as a viable site. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. I'm Elaine Genoway, Mayor of the City of Laguna Niguel. Thank you for putting this item on your agenda. We appreciate your reconsidering your decision of last week. But as Mayor of Laguna Niguel, my #1 priority is public safety. And your vote last week posed the greatest single threat to the safety of the Laguna Niguel residents ever. Perhaps you're unaware of the surroundings of your new tent encampment. I know my council colleagues have detailed a little bit, but close your eyes for a minute. Let me paint this picture for you. Directly across the street from the new tent encampment is a children's daycare center with an outdoor playground. On the other side is our community library where children are taught how to read and do homework. On the other side are homes, a school bus stop, and newly opened restaurants, and a 5-minute walk from the tents is Moulton Elementary School. This plan needs to be killed now, and we are here to advocate for that. For many years, Laguna Niguel has been very proactive in preventing homelessness. So when our residents heard of this plan last week, panic did not ensue. Thousands of responsible citizens raised their voice as one in concern about the Board of Supervisors' short-sighted and ill-conceived plan to address homelessness in our county. The failure of the board to adequately provide services to the homeless is no excuse to compound the problem by shuffling them around the county. The faulty logic of the board is detrimental to both the residents of our cities who this board has been elected to serve, and also the homeless individuals that you have failed to help. The March 19th actions must be repealed, and the Board of Supervisors must act responsibly and work with the cities to develop a policy and a long-term plan to deliver services to the homeless. The taxpayers, whether or not they voted for you, require this of you, and the seat that you hold at the dais requires it of you. As Mayor of Laguna Niguel, I stand before you firmly resolved that homeless people will not be shuffled around the county because that action does nothing to help them. I stand before you firmly resolved that your dereliction of duty will not compromise the safety of our children and our residents. And I stand before you as Mayor of Laguna Niguel to assure you that our city's 66,000 residents stand with me, shoulder to shoulder with one voice, demand that you develop a long-term plan of action and that you repeal the March 19th vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name
Yes,
is John
I am
Mark Jennings.
recording
I'm
this.
the Mayor Pro Tem of Laguna Niguel. It is a pleasure to be here this morning. Before I express my wrath, I wanted to thank the Supervisor Bartlett and Spitzer for coming to our council meeting last week. You've already heard these words, and I don't want to pound them in. I do appreciate this being on the agenda for this morning. My council colleagues have expressed some of the other issues relating to this, and I just wanted to give you the emotional impact that this decision had on our community. First of all, it was made with no input whatsoever from our community. And the moment that they found out about it, within 24 hours, tens of thousands of people in Laguna Niguel, a town of only 67,000 people, expressed their outrage at this decision. This is not the way that good governments make decisions. This is not the way that the people get informed because there was no information that came down here. We have to start over. While we are an inordinately compassionate community, and we will do what we can to help the homeless in our community, we have to do it a different way. We cannot make governmental decisions in a way that do not involve local officials, that do not engage the community, and that do not stand for the principles of what we're trying to accomplish here. This decision was rudderless. It was without an underlying principle behind it, and I think it was done in haste. And we've all learned a lesson, and hopefully you have as well, in never letting that happen again. We are a community that's committed to help you. We're a member of Orange County, and we believe ourselves to be one of the prime jewels here in Orange County. And as such, we will do our part. But we must do that in cooperation. I ask for you to change your perspective on this and to change your future efforts in communicating with our residents. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Vice Chair, members of the Board of Supervisors.
Good morning.
My name is Raul Godinez. I'm City Manager here in the City of Santa Ana. Communities across the nation have struggled to identify solutions for homelessness, and cities within Orange County are no different. However, given the inequitable burden that cities within the county have faced, it is crucial that each city within the county of Orange help resolve this regional issue. A regional and collaborative effort among cities and the county will help the region move toward a more sustainable solution for homelessness. We support the decision of the board to begin to look for temporary housing shelters throughout the county to address homelessness. In addition, a regional housing and triage strategy can further help and strengthen the services to address chronic homelessness and help prevent people from becoming homeless in the first place. We also support Federal Judge Carter's decision that requires identifying resources and housing for the individuals residing in the Santa Ana Civic Center. For decades, Santa Ana has done more than its fair share through services, facilities, and financial contributions to mitigate its impacts. It is our sincere hope that other communities will contribute to ensure that there is an equal distribution of services across the county. There are ways we can work together in the short and long term. Solutions exist, but in order to attain them, differences must be set aside, and a willingness to collaborate must take precedence. Whether through existing legislative protections or creative solutions, cities must unite, residents must extend their support, and government at all levels must help solve one of the most pressing issues of this decade. So we look forward to continuing the dialogue with the county and all 34 cities in our county to establish sustainable solutions to end homelessness in our communities throughout this county. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next speakers are Santa Ana Unified School District Board Member John Palacio, Lupe Moreno, and David Duran.
I see some people coming forward from the overflow room, so perhaps. Good morning, come on forward.
Good morning, my name is Valeria Mesqua, and I am the board president of Santa Ana Unified School District, and I'm here with my colleague, Ms. Ceci Iglesias. Mr. Palacio is not here, so I will be speaking. As the board president, I appreciate that you allow us to speak. Thank you, the Board of Supervisors, for making the decision to work very diligently on our homeless issue. At Santa Ana Unified, we have identified over 5,000 homeless children. We're still working on identifying, we're looking at reaching about 11,000. We as a district have committed, and we continue to work with the families and the children very closely. As board president, as my colleagues, we take this very seriously. On the board, we have a very diverse group of board members. Myself, I'm a retired supervising probation officer with the Orange County Probation Department after 30 years. Supervisor Spitzer, thank you for addressing the sex offender issue. I know how serious it is. But when we're talking about children, and I read the article in the Orange County Register, and that's what really made the move for us to come as a school district, because when we talk about children, we need to talk about all children. That's right. Because all children matter.
Illegal.
Not just children in certain cities. That's right. So I appreciate all the electeds that have come forward to talk about our daycare centers, our schools, our libraries, but guess what? Santa Ana has them too. That's right. And our Santa Ana children, we need to please put them in the front, just like you're putting all the other children. It's not just about the parents, because again, working with the probation department for 30 years, believe me, there are people that are on parole and probation and registered sex offenders throughout this county that you don't know about. Yep. But guess what? We're making the homeless issue as it's a criminal. Being homeless is a crime. It is not a crime. That's right.
But
however,
immigration is.
Not addressing the needs of our children,
illegal immigration is in sanctuary city. Sanctuary city, that's why. Get rid of the sanctuary city.
I really truly appreciate all the hard work that you're all doing.
And the sanctuary city.
And that's why we're here together, because we want to offer our services and collaborate with you. We should be at the table because you're talking about our children, our community. And in Santa Ana, we have taken the brunt. When they talk
That's your
about our
fault.
libraries, we have discussions at board meetings all the time about how our kids can't use the libraries, or how our kids go to school in the morning and somebody is sleeping in front of our schools. We're not arresting them, we're asking them to move nicely, and we're giving them services. Here's where you can go get some services. Here's where you can find food, but please leave our schools. Please move away from our children. So I just wanted to remind you, along with my colleagues that are here, and I want to thank all of them for being here. Principals, I have principals in the overflow room, I have cabinet members, the deputy superintendent, our chiefs here, again, Ms. Ceci and Gless is here to join me. Please think about all of our children.
That's right.
All of our children. It is not just a Santa Ana issue.
What about unborn?
I gave you extra time because I assume all of them are not going to speak and you spoke for them.
Well, but I can bring my 50,000 students and they can speak.
No.
We'd have to set another meeting.
All right, again, thank you for all the work and please invite us to the table. We'd like to help
Get
you.
rid of the sanctuary city policy. Santa Ana is a sanctuary city. That's why they have the problems they have. My compassion will not be put on trial. I've had enough.
We're all compassionate here in Orange County, so I'm hoping to work with all of you guys in finding ways to help the homeless from Santa Ana go into other cities. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Santa Ana is a sanctuary city. That's the problem.
Before you leave, first of all, just real quick, I completely appreciate your comments. I appreciate the leadership of Cecilia Iglesias and yourself and the rest of your trustees. And your points are extremely well taken. I'm glad you have the experience you have as a probation officer, because today probation is monitoring 337 offenders, 290 registrants throughout the county on probation.
That's correct.
But parole is monitoring 305. And we had 3 290s in the Civic Center until last Friday. And because of my phone call to CDCR, they got moved. And the reason I was concerned is Judge Carter told the supervisors were in his courtroom last week that he had caught wind of a sexual assault in the Civic Center.
Oh.
And when I heard about that, I was extremely concerned, as anybody would be. And so parole moved those sex offenders out last Friday because I made a phone call. Now I'm going to tell you something.
Let's try and keep it short.
What I'm telling you is
ouch.
We have 66 parolee
Wow.
offenders, 290, who are transients. We have another 56 in custody for violating
He's
their
running for
parole
district attorney.
And we have 46
He's running for
who cut off
DA
their
against
GPS
Tony
lockers.
Rakakis. That's why he's doing
So
this.
I've asked parole to do polygraph examinations
Oh,
of those
brother.
3 to see if they're somehow connected to that assault in the Civic Center. It is wrong what's going on in your community, and we all need to come together. You're invited too on April 3rd. Judge Carter said, come one, come all. So we see you on April 3rd.
Thank you, we will be there.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah,
does
don't
that end
campaign
the,
now, Todd.
Does that end the electeds, or do we have any more?
That's it.
All right, just real quick before we move to the next group. For all the electeds that are here, thank you. I know you're all elected to speak on behalf of your communities. I do want to point out a couple things because there's a lot that could be said, but I want you just to know a few things. Number one, this problem is overwhelming every Southern California county. Now, we have our problems, and man, we're staring them in the mirror today. But don't make the mistake of coming up here and assuming that this has been mismanaged. This is probably managed better than any county around.
No.
LA County has approximately 60,000 homeless on the street.
Yep.
They're not even 4 times our size.
We're better than LA.
We don't have
Sadly,
their
they are.
problem.
Thanks to the Democrats. Don't compare to
Folks,
LA.
He'll clear the room.
Relax. I know it's hard to hear someone that might not agree with your narrative, but you're going to
Ouch.
hear a little bit of that today. For the council members involved, there seems to be this belief that this board was given a significant amount of time to contemplate what a judge asked us to have an answer, not a plan, an answer. Saturday at 9:30, asked us to have a response to him by noon Monday.
So why don't you listen to the people and let them talk?
Be silent or you will be removed. Now, come on now.
Remove him.
Remove him, man.
He's already been.
All right. Deputy, would you mind removing the gentleman in the black hat? We can continue.
You need to leave.
Stand up, sir, if you wouldn't mind. You volunteered. We appreciate it.
You gotta stand up here.
No, I mean, if you'd be polite enough, if you want to go, we're not going to stop you, so
I don't want to go. I'm just saying, we're talking about homeless
Sir,
issues.
I'm not asking you a
We've
question.
been here for hours.
Sir,
But
come
you
on
gotta
out.
go.
You volunteered. You knew everyone else sitting polite, and they feel just as strongly as you. I'm sorry.
Amen.
If you could help us do this in an orderly manner,
Thank you.
that would be at least considerate
You
of
should
you.
all be ashamed.
Thank you.
You should.
You should be.
You should. Is it stolen Indian land?
No, it's not. Stop lying. That's a lie.
Oh, brother.
That's a lie.
Just-
$1 million.
Finally, despite the rock throwing, I just want you to know I represent the community of Fullerton along with North Orange County. Fullerton's no more or less special than anyone else, but please understand, everyone wants to help, but what needs help more than anything is we need emergency shelter beds, and some communities in our county have been shouldering that burden for decades. Santa Ana, Fullerton have the only emergency shelters. So there's a whole ladder of extra care, and if anybody has to be involved, it's easy to volunteer for the stuff no one sees that's popular. But I care about everybody's kids. I assume you all do as well. But let's just be honest here. Our challenge as we get down to the tip of the spear is no one wants to have or host this difficult population. So I appreciate everyone stepping up. And it matters, and there's a lot in the pipeline. But when we go to work, what I'm anxious to hear is the first volunteer. You know, when you kind of have you're in the audience, the magic trick guy wants to volunteer, but he ducks. Because if you don't get picked, then you get a free pass. I'm anxious to hear on April 3rd who steps forward and says, we want emergency shelter. We want to take some of the load off Santa Ana and Fullerton, where I live. And my first house, 1854 West Avenue, 3 doors down, 3 from the emergency shelter. I lived there for 9 years. I never had a problem. It is next door, shares a fence with houses. Pacific Drive Elementary School is a block away. There is a daycare between Pacific Drive and the shelter. So I get it. I know that these are all sacred. But when you live in one of the most densely populated places in the United States, and we do, it's just surprising to hear that, there is no site that's not near things that matter to us. So I appreciate that everyone's site is sacrilege. But some people have been dealing with this issue for an awful long time.
Amen.
And all that's being asked, we don't need every community to have an emergency shelter. But when we all go talk to the judge, one of the challenges we're going to have is who's willing to step up. And we'll see. I hope he has more offers than we need. That would be great. But so far the experience has not been that successful. And conversations, historically, I've been at this for 7 years. I got the scars to prove it. Conversations have really ended up with a lot of movement in the other stuff. Emergency shelter is just, we seem to strike out. Hopefully that'll change in the short term. So for all you electeds, I know you have places to go. You are all welcome to stay. It's not rude if you need to go. We're going to move to the general public comment. Many of the speakers that spoke were given additional time because frankly, they represent very large communities. And I don't mean to be rude, you all matter, but we're going to try and cut it off at a minute, and you'd be amazed how much you can say in a minute if you just get to it. So with that, welcome, ma'am.
I know, he just did it a minute.
My name is Lupe Morfin Moreno. I've lived in this city for 50 years. I've worked for this county for 34.5 years. I also volunteer. I've spent the last 20 years volunteering for my community. Where I volunteer the most is at the Friends of the Santa Ana Public Library. And I have seen our area become a shithole. And to tell you
Unbelievable.
that 3 of my grandbabies under 3 years old are 3 blocks away at a care center. So that everybody is talking about their babies, well, our babies are here.
Yeah.
My children were raised here.
Yeah.
My grandchildren are being raised here. But I came because I used to work for something called the
Lupe.
Hepatitis B Prevention Program.
Lupe is a friend of
All
ours.
we did was prevention. And the man that was there was a representative from the CDC, and I want to know why they aren't in this state. I want to know why FEMA is in this state. This has become out of control.
Yes.
And stop sanctuary cities. Thank you.
Yeah.
The next 5 speakers, if you can line up behind the podium, are David Duran, Pat Davis, Stephanie Roberts, Lisa Patterson, and Janine Robbins.
Welcome.
She ignored him.
Good morning. My name is Stephanie Roberts. I'm from Housing as a Human Right OC. And with all due respect, I'd like to make a couple of quick comments. You just apologized to Laguna Niguel, Huntington Beach, and Irvine for suggesting that they might have to share with the solution to the homeless problems in the county. You should be apologizing to Anaheim, Orange, Santa Ana, and Fullerton, which have been shouldering the responsibility for this
Okay, if you need to go.
for decades.
Thanks for being here.
Also, a note to Rep. Rohrabacher, retire.
Boo! Boo! Dana's awesome.
Urges you to end the homelessness crisis in Orange County by creating a fully funded housing trust fund to make your housing first strategy a reality. You have recently taken a step in the right direction by committing about $70 million in Mental Health Services Act funding to permanently house approximately 600 people with serious mental illness who are experiencing homelessness. Consistent with nationally recognized best practices, this strategy employs the housing first model to place some of our most vulnerable residents in permanent safe housing with appropriate social services as an immediate response to their needs.
And just so you know, there's 193 million in the pipeline right now. The 70.5 is kind of the latest tranche. Come on forward, ma'am, front and center. You're on the clock. Let's roll.
We will all sleep better at night knowing that 600 of our most seriously disabled neighbors will no longer be living outdoors in the cold and rain of winter and heat of summer, struggling to survive. Now is the time to finish the job and end homelessness crisis in Orange County. Without county investment and permanent solutions, homelessness will continue to grow. Excuse me, the county's point-in-time count shows that the number of people experiencing homelessness on any given night has increased by around 8% from 2015 to 2017, with more than half living outside. The root of the crisis is the county's dire shortage of affordable and permanent supportive housing. Without affordable options, skyrocketing rent in the private market pushes people into homelessness and keeps them there. A report presented by Susan Price, Orange County's Director of Care Coordination, reveals that 90,000 people are on the cumulative wait list for one of Orange County's affordable housing units, and they wait 5 to 10 years to get to the top of the list.
Thank you very much. Good morning, welcome. Start.
Only 1 out of every 4 chronically homeless individuals will get permanent supportive housing in the next few years, and the rest will languish on the streets or in shelters. Leaving most of our economically vulnerable residents on our streets is inhumane. It doesn't have to be this way. The Orange County residents are saying enough is enough. Early polling suggests that homelessness and poverty are top priorities for Orange County voters. Now, in the midst of your efforts to find temporary shelters, which by the way is not housing, for people who have been displaced from the Santa Ana River Trail, more and more people are demanding permanent solutions. We know that temporary tents and shelters are not a pathway out of homelessness. When insufficient permanent affordable housing is needed to meet the needs, and it does not exist.
And we have 127 letters from the last 24 hours that have been signed by citizens here in Orange County.
Are you the next speaker? Or? All right, thank you. Janine, welcome.
Thank you. As an advocate, I want to make it clear to all of the other Orange County residents here today that at no point have any advocates expressed a desire to establish tent cities in your cities. The supervisor's proposal as currently presented is short-sighted and absurd. Rather than taking the time to develop a well-reasoned plan to house and assist the homeless population, the supervisors have cooked up a half-baked idea to move them like animals while simultaneously threatening the well-being of your local communities. Over the course of the past several years, The elected officials before us today have worked tirelessly to hoard your tax dollars instead of using it for their intended purposes. Tax dollars that are legally earmarked solely for the provision of housing and services to the homeless population have gone unspent. Hundreds of millions of your tax dollars have gone unspent. When you question why the homeless crisis has grown to this extent, you need look no farther than the Orange County Board of Supervisors, who have engaged in one of the largest betrayals of public trust in the history of our county.
The next 5 speakers are Mike Robbins, Harry Lagenbacher, Eve Garrow, Robin Deverich, and Elizabeth Hansberg.
I don't see Mike. He's not here. Go ahead. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Elizabeth Hansberg. I represent an organization called People for Housing Orange County. We are part of the YIMBY movement, which stands for Yes in My Backyard. I represent public citizens who are willing to welcome new housing. I thank you for your leadership. I'm also a resident of Fullerton. I want to make the context clear that we are here because we need emergency services, because for too long, all communities in Orange County have said no to housing. Market rate housing, low-income housing, permanent supportive housing. Everyone comes out to say, no, I don't want this in my community. Even when we're talking about building $725,000 townhomes, there is a lack of support for welcoming new people into our existing communities, and that's what the YIMBY movement is about. And so I would like to say thank you to Supervisor Nelson for your leadership on this issue. I know you've been working on it for a long time. We support swift action. We support you making decisions that may be unpopular because we need to solve this problem. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Robin Deverich, and I live in a home at the Great Park, a short walking distance away from your proposed Irvine tent city, and my children and grandchildren play at the park, sports fields, and playgrounds literally across the street from that site. Many of the homeless truly are suffering, and I have great compassion for the addictions and mental health needs of the homeless, but the Great Park Irvine location you've chosen is not the place to take care of those needs. The claim made today that a tent city would be gated and secure is a mockery of what the reality would be. Being homeless is not a crime, and they will be free to come and go, wandering through our parks and playgrounds and nearby schools during the day. I implore you, please do not endanger the safety of our families, children, and grandchildren. Families live in the Great Park area. Importing a large group of homeless into an area surrounded by children and families is the wrong thing to do, and you will be responsible and accountable for any harm that befalls our children if you make that choice. Thank you.
Thank you for calling me. I wouldn't have known I was up otherwise. There's so much noise out there. There's a whole lot of people, and this is what we've needed. This is what we needed. We've been pushing this for 1.5 years to try and get solutions. It's called solutions. And there's hundreds of millions of dollars, as we all know, as everybody said. One of the problems is, as long as the rhetoric exists, we can't build this stuff anywhere. And please, I have implored some people on here to stop saying the wrong things, and we have to say the right things. And we have to talk about the money. We have to talk about the 1,500 properties that the county has, and sharing with the cities, and building this now, and everybody together here. If we can build a coalition now that can really put this together with everybody, and with all the money that we have, we can build everything for everybody and take care of everything. This is our time. This is our time to shine. We can save all these people on the streets and make everything better for everyone, everywhere, and for everything that we prayed for.
But yeah, there's no
Thank you so much.
This is in a
Thank you,
fallen
Board
world.
Supervisors.
Boo.
Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, I'm Eve Garrow from the ACLU and Housing as a Human Right OC. I checked in last night with a wonderful woman, a proud grandmother who was living at the River Trail and now has a motel voucher. And she has several painful disabilities and dreams of permanent supportive housing, which she hopes she will obtain through the board's commitment of $70 million in Mental Health Services Act funding. And that will be a wonderful day for me and for her when that happens. What she will not do, she told me, is move to a shelter in South County. She said she wouldn't feel safe there because of the climate of fear stoked by some board members and other elected officials in South County, depicting her as a threat to children and community. It is your moral responsibility, I believe, as our elected officials to speak about people experiencing this humanitarian crisis with respect and compassion. And for South County residents looking for solutions, the solution is permanent affordable housing, and you, our Board of Supervisors, has the power and resources to make this happen and to end homelessness for good. Thank you.
After Harry Lagerbacher, the next 5 speakers are Dennis Edlin, Kenneth Batiste, Abigail Alleman, Lee Sun, and Ashley Michael.
Yeah, come on forward. Don't wait. Don't worry about being polite. We got plenty of people to fill in. Welcome.
Thank you, Supervisors. My name is Dennis Edlin. I'm a resident of San Juan Capistrano. I do work for the homeless. We have 0 beds for the homeless in San Juan, 0 in Dana Point, 0 in San Clemente. I don't know about Laguna Niguel, but I would like some place for our homeless to go. Right now, many of them likewise do not want to go to Fullerton. They feel it is too far away. So I'm here to plead for homeless beds in South County. I would suggest that you pay attention to SB 2. Every city in this county, all 30-some, have plans for the homeless. And San Clemente, I know, just finished a lawsuit. They have identified a place, 0 beds. Dana Point has delegated that to the churches. All the churches are going to take in all of the homeless.
Thank you.
0.
Comments, sir.
SB 2, implemented. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Abigail Alamon. I live in Santa Ana. I actually work for the Santa Ana Unified District and also for the Garden Grove District. And I don't know if anybody has heard of Mika's Way, but it's only 0.1 miles away from Remington Elementary. So we have, like Ms. Valeria Amezcua has said, we have been dealing with this for years. And enough is enough. We shouldn't have to be dealing with this at all. People are saying that we're teaching our children how to respect the homeless. We've been donating books, toys, clothes. But no, you are teaching them that money is more valuable than a human being. You are not more valuable than our kids in our community. So it's not in it. So I hope that no more homeless are into my community, because we have been dealing with this for so long. For too long, and dumping these homeless people at our own backyard, at our riverbeds where I live like a couple blocks away. So it's not fair that we have been doing this. Other communities need to step up, either provide organizations like Mika's Way in Irvine, or move, I don't know, just do something.
Thank you.
And stop sanctuary cities.
Good morning, welcome.
County Supervisors. My name is Lee Sun. I'm an Irvine resident for 16 years and a father of 4 children. I myself was nearly homeless 30 years ago with only $50 in my pocket. So I understand the people, the plight the people are going through, and we need a real solution.
He used to be homeless.
I respect you and thank you for your public service.
He used to be homeless.
However,
He's
you
no
failed
longer homeless.
to perform your duty by stashing more than $200 million away for interest and did not do anything for many years. The decision you made on March 19th was unconscionable, ill-conceived, and irresponsible. And I commend you for realizing the mistake and rescind that decision today. However, I also urge you not to repeat the same mistake again. Listen to the community, listen to the people who are falling behind, and then listen to the local government. Work together, we have a solution. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ashley Michael. I am a resident of the city of Irvine. I have lived in Irvine for 30+ years and am a homeowner there as well. We're all aware of what's at risk here. We're all aware that every child in every community, every vulnerable population, seniors, everybody is at risk here. And what needs to happen is you guys need to come up with a decision that requires every single city in the county to get involved, whether that be every city is allocated a certain amount of beds that they need, More important than that, I think we need to address the elephant in the room. The individuals that we are discussing right now have refused services repeatedly and do not want help. And that doesn't mean they still don't deserve the help. We still need to, you know, act in a humane way and help the people that don't want the help. But we need to come up with other programs that can reach out to these people. Otherwise, we're going to accomplish nothing. And you mentioned, I'd like to speak to the fact that you mentioned shelters are what we need, and we absolutely do. But you aren't recommending that. You're recommending a temporary solution for homeless people, and that's not going to resolve the problem.
Thank you.
After Kenneth Batiste, the next 5 speakers are Hein Snyder, Virginia Lynn, Teresa Yazdani, William Gao, and Michael Tian.
Good morning.
Welcome to the table of solutions, cities of Irvine, Huntington Beach, and Laguna Niguel. We've been here for years. Santa Ana has went ahead and become a cesspool of dumping. The Judge Carter made it clear that other cities are dumping and that there will be no more dumping of any cities on another city in Orange County. The Board of Supervisors had a 10-year plan of having $900 million, and when the judge went ahead and asked how much did they had $700 million to go ahead and have a solution for ending homelessness. Think back. We had 4 people who just died in Garden Grove, people, in a van.
Yeah.
They was going ahead. We had 2 children.
Yeah.
We had 2 children that was looking for heat.
Sir?
Address the chair.
I'm going to address everything to everybody because it was they were looking for heat to stay warm. They weren't homeless on the riverbed. They weren't asking nobody for nothing.
Thank you.
That was just trying to stay together. A solution is what we need. And homelessness is all down. Thank you.
I believe that every human being, including homeless people, are unique. But why they are homeless, why they are in struggling situation, is you guys' job to help them out. Tent City is not the solution. Tent City is unfair for homeless people. You put them into hopeless. You put the children and family in fear. And you, Tent City, you also put the police officers in danger. Tent City is not the solution. You guys better have the common sense. Do some good research and come with good solution. No Tent City in anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Teresa Yazdani, and I am a resident of Irvine. However, 3 years ago, I was a resident of Santa Ana. I am fully aware of what is going on in Santa Ana, and I appreciate forgive me, the president of Santa Ana School District for addressing this. The Irvine residents, Laguna Niguel residents, and Huntington Beach residents do not feel that we are any better than Santa Ana, Fullerton, or Anaheim, who have taken the brunt of this. We understand, most of us have lived in these cities. We see what's going on. We've seen it, we've lived it. My child went to preschool and there was homeless people across the street camping. So I understand, and as a resident, I am very concerned. And we all, everyone in here, needs to find a solution with you guys collaboratively, because this has just gone out of hand in the last several years. I mean, what is the solution right now? Tent camps are not gonna help anybody. We need solutions. I mean, Mr. Kim himself admitted there are open beds right now. So what do we need emergency shelters for if there are open beds? We need permanent solutions.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Tian, and I'm a resident of Irvine for the past 6 years. I'm sure lots of people are going to mention the reasons in which the proposed sites, especially in Irvine, are not suitable. Right, so you're going to be putting a giant tent city on a piece of undeveloped land, which is by definition almost like a slum with absolutely no services or anything to support human habitation. However, you guys need to work together in order to find a solution to satisfy all stakeholders, because if you cram this down anybody's throat first of all, nobody is going to be happy, and second of all, it's just going to, invite years and years of extremely expensive litigation. As you heard, the city of Irvine, Laguna Niguel, and Huntington Beach are legally challenging the board, and I think that's going to continue going forward. And as well, community groups are going to step up to do this as well, if that's what it's going to take to fight this tooth and nail. I do want to talk about solutions, and a couple of days ago, I see that Mr. Nelson brought up the Fairville Development Center, which I was very happy about.
If you're able, could you please wrap it up? I know we're just at the end of your time.
Yes. So, this place has many advantages. First of all, it has all the facilities that's needed, and it could be available at a fairly low incremental cost to the taxpayer, because it has the, gas, electricity, showers, etc. So I think that is a solution that you all should consider very strongly. Thank you, sir.
My name is William. Actually, I represent my friend Benjamin. He is disabled veteran through years of So the county decision building a tent city in Great Park has done the entire neighborhood. With the years of wanting 200 million dedicated fund and wholeheartedly support of caring OC citizens, was it solved? No. 11-hour action of zero input for consideration of homeless and residents alike was shocking, and possibly in violation of State Brown Act. And you demonstrate disregard toward the need of vulnerable homeless population. The Great Park is contaminated with no running water, as you know. And some of us become homeless for a reason: mental or physical issue, divorce, unemployment, drug, alcohol problem. You need to truly understand the plight and systematic solution for that. Without support of the mental health, social service, transportation, rehab centers, work training, in open junkie land, you set us up for failure.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
After Virginia Lynn, the next 5 speakers are Ben Tay, Dr.
chairs all
Yu,
empty?
CC
Are
Lee,
those chairs empty in front?
Alex Yemen Liu, and Judith Jean.
Hi, Board of Supervisors. My name is Virginia Liu. I'm an attorney. Standing in front of you today, I'm extremely disappointed. I'm disappointed on your inability to address the homeless issue. I'm a community activist. In college alone, I spent over 1,000 community service hours to help the people who are in need, and most of them are homeless people. From my experience, homeless people are not any different from us. They are probably just a little bit hurt in their heart.
Yeah.
And all you need to do, they need more than a shelter. A shelter does not bring them dignity. A shelter does not cure their disease. A shelter will just break their heart again. As community activists, if you ask me what we can do, maybe some medical help, maybe some job trainings, maybe some social workers that can help them address their problem individually. Can I just wrap it up with the reason why Irvine is so dangerous that no one has addressed? The train tracks is right there. And since the beginning of 2018, 4 people have struck in California with trains, and 2 of them are homeless people.
Thank you. We have a lot of people that would like to speak, and they're all important.
Good morning. My name is Ben Hay, and I'm a resident of
Okay, if he does, I'll move.
By now, I think you should have this IUSD, Irvine Unified School District, open letter to propose a plan to move to Irvine. So, the Orange County needs to cooperate with all cities of Orange County to solve the homeless people problem. Simply a slapdash substitution to one tent city to another won't solve the homeless people problems. May I ask the Board of Supervisors, do you guys have a county plan for permanent shelter in Irvine? And there's no county plan for mental health, drug users, social workers from these homeless people. And there's absolutely no public transportation, no water, no power, no fuel, or that piece of land. And the land is located just beside the Highway 5, and the train trail just beside that. And can you imagine that if the homeless people have an accident on there, who is going to be responsible? Please help us and please help yourself to find out, we will come up with a better solution with all the cities of Orange County.
Thank you for your comments.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Alex Liu. I'm a resident of Irvine for 15 years. I have 2 kids. Today I will first talk about the homeless people. They are most important people here. They don't need a fancy. They don't need a tent city. They need a solution. Second, I will talk about the urban location. This 100 acres tent city will sit on toxic land next to 1,300 acres Great Park, which is almost twice size New York Central Park. It will start with 400 tents, as you proposed. What will you do when 1,000 homeless show up? What will you do when 3,000 homeless show up? Remember, there are endless acres of soccer field, baseball field, green grass next to it. When this tent city turns into size of 5 centimeters.
You can pull the mic down.
Hello, my name is John, and I'm 10 years old, and I have something really important to tell you guys. Like, a whole city depends on you guys, and a very, very good and wonderful city where everyone lives happily, and, well, if you're going to bring the homeless here, like, there's many, many kinds of homeless, and there's the homeless that want to be helped,
yes,
and there's the homeless that doesn't want to be helped and have some bad habits. So the ones coming here, like, I know that they are like the ones that doesn't want to be helped, and that makes me fear, and, well, I feel unsafe. I can imagine I will be really, really scared because they can literally walk to schools, and they can steal things and harm families, and, well, yeah, so that makes me really, really scared. And I hate to say this, but there's many, many of them, like, that's going to be here, and they live on poisonous land where there's no supply of necessary supplies, and, well, they can make bad impacts on many, many neighborhoods.
All right, thanks for your comments.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Judy Jing. I'm a mom with 2 kids. All I want to say is, shouldn't you try to serve concerned citizens who are shocked to learn the mishandling of the designated fund of $200 million, which taxpayers entrust you to help these members of our society? And what about the $800 million fund? With up to $1 million, all you can come up with is a tent city. Shame on you. My final question. Do you really think you can abuse your power to manipulate the public whatever way you want and get away with it? Just because you were not elected by our district, do you believe that you can harm our community with no consequences? We will hold you accountable for neglecting the real needs of the homeless population. We'll hold you accountable for tearing up our beautiful community. We'll hold you accountable for endangering our children. We will hold you accountable for putting our seniors at risk. And we will hold you accountable for mishandling taxpayers' money.
Good morning,
Morning. I'm here to represent my son. He cannot be here because of school. Here's what he wrote. I can read only part of it. My name is Roger. I'm 80 years old and a 2nd grader in Irvine. 2 years ago, my parents and I went to San Francisco for vacation. There, I saw people living in tents on the street. My parents told me they are unfortunate people having nowhere to live, and we should try our best to help them. I felt very sad for them and wanted to help. However, the needles on the ground there and the street fight we saw really scared me. And for the first time in my life, I got to know the word drug has another meaning. Not a good thing to cure our sickness, but the worst thing to destroy a person's life and others. My heart never felt that heavy. I think the people living in tents deserve a good place to live in. And someday, they can live in houses like ours. Not homeless anymore. I want to help. But if we are not safe, how can we be able to help others? I really want to help the people living in tents, even I am still a child.
and I will always help them for the rest of my life. This is what my parents told me, and this is how I really feel. Thank you.
The next 5 speakers after Alice Liu are Lin Liu, Dr. An Tran, Longden Lai, Meg Lin, and William and Brett.
My name is Lynn. I'm a homemaker, mother of 2, and resident for Irvine. I'm shocked that you're going to build a homeless tent city near my neighborhood. This is not acceptable. Because these people you're sending have sex offenders and drug users in them. The proposed site is unacceptably close to thousands of household communities and schools. These unfenced schools and ungated communities, you put our children's safety in great danger. You want to talk about human rights? Have you ever thought about our human rights? You say that hundreds of thousands of residents' human rights.
I like what this lady
and you
has
said
to
that
say.
this is for those 400 people's rights. Have you ever asked them, do they want to be moved? We pay the highest tax in the county.
Yep.
We pay our share of mental health care. We work so hard to get the life we have now. Every penny is hard-earning money. We deserve better treatment.
Thank you for your comments.
And actually, there have already 500.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Menglu and I'm a resident of Irvine. So today what I want to say is relocating tent cities is not solving this deeply rooted social problem. I moved to Irvine a year ago. Before that I was living in Chicago, where I've seen shelters, 1 or 2 tents under the bridges, but I've never seen such a large scale of tent cities like in the riverbed or Skid Row until I moved to California. This is a daunting social phenomenon, not because this tent cities does not provide any healthy conditions to the people living in there, but also it erodes internally and externally to its communities. As there's no control, there's no supervision. The larger the scale it gets, the more problem it creates. So I wanted to enumerate some numbers. In the effort of clearing out the encampments in the riverbed, the county collected over 400 tons of debris, nearly 14,000 needles, and over 5,000 pounds of hazardous waste. Those are hard facts that prove tent cities are creating health problems, environmental problems, and safety problems to its surrounding area. Whatever Santa Ana concern expressed, like Anaheim and Fullerton, we share that too.
Is that for
I wanted to
autism
continue
awareness?
that.
No,
It's,
ma'am.
no,
Thank
no.
you for your comment.
What you are doing now is migrating the problem. You are not solving the problem.
You're not more important than the other speakers. I know you think you are.
Ouch, finally. Ow.
Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I am a resident in West Park, Irvine for 5 years, and I have a 5-year-old boy, and we are expecting for another baby in this coming July. So we really love Irvine, and my husband still works in downtown LA, and every day he spends over 3 hours on commute, but we feel it's worthwhile because it's really good community. So the breaking out news that you are planning to move hundreds of homeless people to Irvine really affect my recent life. I can't stop to recall our bad memory back to 2010 when we first came to US. I and my husband lived around the school area for 2 years when we pursued our master's degree in USC. We never dare to go out during it's dark. We cannot go to some specific areas because it's very dangerous. We could see crime alerts in our school inbox every other day regarding robbery, attack, or sexual harassment. So 2 of Chinese students who are also our friends were gunshot during that period of time, and it became our nightmare for quite a long time.
Thank you for your comments.
So I don't want my kids to continue live in the fear as we experienced before. We want them to live in brightness and positiveness. Thank you very much.
My name is Landon Lai. I live in the Great Park. The designated shelter area is part of our community. I'm 72 years old. The reason I choose to live in Irvine is safe. anytime during the day I can come out and take a walk and doing the exercise without any fear. Okay. But as we grow older,
it's too late to submit
cards. Strong as the young people in mentally or physically. And we have hundreds of senior affordable housing close to the site, which is within the walking distance. So I'm here on behalf of the senior to ask for the safe environment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Anne. I'm a resident of Irvine for the past 20 years. Thank you so much for allowing me to stand in front of you. It is truly an honor and privilege to stand here before everyone to share my personal experience on how my family and I were treated when we were homeless. In 1975, we were forced out of our country and became homeless.
Oh.
We too were living in tents and would be moved from one place to another. I felt depressed and unwanted. It wasn't my choice to be homeless. It was just how life unfolds itself. My parents told us that don't worry, that someone will take care of us. Through time and hard work of the local governments and various agencies who took time to really get to know us and address our concern, we all eventually placed in a community that embraced us through churches and charity organizations. And I hope that we can do that for all of our homeless.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next five speakers after William and Brett are John, Fiona Lee, Sean Wu, Sunny Sun, and Crystal Wu.
So first I would like to mention that Brett is not here, so may I just speak myself?
Yes.
Hi, my name is William and I'm from Irvine, California. I believe that the people of Orange County should not build a tent camp in Great Park. First of all, kids play a lot of sports there. My friends and I play soccer and football at the Great Park fields every week. It will be scary for kids to hang so close to hundreds of tents. I heard these people refused to go to the shelters, but chose to stay in the tents. Secondly, they don't have water, electricity, or sewage system in the tents. They deserve a better place. We can move them to a place with detailed plans, let them have a permanent space to live with water, electricity, and other necessities. Leave the Great Park to kids to play safely. For all of these reasons, we should not build up this tent camp in Great Park. I want to help the homeless people, but I don't feel Great Park is an appropriate place for them. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
John is a student, Fiona Lee, Sean Wu, Sunny Sun, Crystal Wu,
Hi, my name is Sean Wu. I'm a landscape architect and a planner who lives in the Great Park community. I'm appalled by the Supervisors' decision to propose 3 sites throughout Orange County for the homeless population. Let's face it, a homeless tent encampment is detrimental to any community. It's a daunting and overwhelming task. The solution cannot be rushed, and the rushed decision can be bad decisions. So let's come up with some creative solutions that the visions are shared and agreed by all parties involved. Let's not try to force the tent onto just a few cities. One of the options I'm thinking, it might be an architectural solution. People love to work in Silicon Valley, like Apple's. Why? Because they have the best buildings to work in. How about we build the homeless with the resource we have, a best building for the homeless, so it becomes an opportunity instead of just
a problem.
Thanks very much.
Next 5 speakers are Ben Way, Brendan Perkins, Ava O'Keefe, Jason Marischal, and Tony Cargaloff.
Okie doke.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Dear Supervisors, thank you for this generous 1 minute. This morning, not only Irvine, Laguna Hill, and Laguna Niguel, Huntington Beach are crying out. Tent city is not a solution. Anaheim, Santa Ana, Fullerton, Orange, these residents are also crying out that tent city is not a solution. Supervisors, please, I plead you to solve the problem of homelessness. Please don't kick the can from the riverbed down to the park. That's not a solution. That's irresponsibility. We, as taxpayers, as voters, will hold you accountable. Solve the problem. No tent city in Irvine, no tent city anywhere. Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Brendan Perkins. I'm a resident of Huntington Beach. I applaud your measure to rescind your previous actions on 318 to shuffle homeless individuals around the county without regard to their real needs. It's a start, but quite frankly, this measure doesn't go far enough. What the homeless need is permanent supportive housing, and we are still waiting for you to act in a manner that supports that goal. Homeless individuals have jobs. Some have special needs. They are our veterans. They are our fathers, our mothers. They're our sons and our daughters. For whatever reason, they are without shelter. When people are labeled as homeless, many people fail to recognize that they are human beings that for whatever reason have fallen on hard times. What they need is permanent supportive housing, and the county has all the resources it needs to produce this outcome. I implore you to go further and do your duty to serve this underserved community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ava O'Keefe. What does the toll road in San Clemente have anything to do with Tent City in Laguna Niguel or Irvine? Well, these are decisions that are supported by my county supervisor. I set a photo over here of the 5 just completed, and as the IBA traffic study says, there's no traffic in San Clemente, no need to spend $1.6 billion when arterial solutions would just do the same thing. Now to the 10 citizen motel vouchers in our communities. Your lack of planning, transparency, and oversight are simply creating irreparable harm to our communities and to the population that you're purporting to help. Selling them to San Clemente to motels when our city does not even have a hospital next to a nuclear power plant that now has questionable storing units. And one of you guys said that you're sharing the love. Sharing the love is not a strategy. Coming up with a plan and implementing the unspent $250 million the county has been hoarding is to provide permanent supportive housing like the Alpha Project in San Diego. You hid under HIPAA in order to not provide any information to the concerned parents that were asking where these individuals were sheltered.
Thank you for your comment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And do not delete Facebook comments, thanks.
Just delete Facebook.
Good morning, my name is Jason Marischal, and I'm officially representing the Moulton Elementary School PTA. We're officially opposed to the tent shelter site in Laguna Niguel. It's 1,000 feet from Moulton Elementary. And as the school's Traffic and Safety Committee Chair, I want to talk about some of the unique vulnerabilities at our school. We have a completely open campus, and due to the layout of the campus and access issues, it's really infeasible to actually fence the site. The site's accessed from Highlands Avenue on the west, but the street is 20 to 50 feet below the school site, so there's no visibility to the school from the street. On the east side of the campus, we're adjacent to a heavily vegetated park and an open space slope area. We actually have an access trail that hundreds of kids use a day that goes through that slope. The trail also has no visibility from the street, and it's nearly impossible to patrol. We think there's a high likelihood of homeless resettlement in the vegetated trail area where our kids walk every day. And I guess I want to conclude by saying that anybody who watches the news today knows that schools have enough serious safety concerns to contend with, and we don't want to add one to Moulton Elementary School. Thank you.
Thank you.
After Tony Targaloff, the next 5 speakers are Jay Torres.
Yeah, my name is Tony Targaloff. We need to just stop everything. We only got so much time. We need to stop what we're doing, stop everything. What's going on at the with the homeless that moved to the riverbed, the ones that are displaced, it is evil. You got to get out to Beach Boulevard and see what's going on. What we need to do is we need to stop everything. We need to put them all in hotels. We can get a moratorium, and you contact Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State. You tell him Mr. Targaloff, the godfather to one of his grandsons, says we need money for another 6 months to a year to have the homeless housed. That will get that problem housed, because like Judge Carter said, they have to be housed. Then you can work on a comprehensive plan to get them housed, because you had not only developed 2 plans since 2016, the shelter, the buses, and something else, nothing else. You haven't used the 3 other plans to have the 10-year thing. So right now, get some money from the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. You tell him Mr. Targaloff, the godfather to his grandsons, needs money for 6 months to a year. We'll have them housed. Then we can work on a comprehensive plan to get them housed and end this homeless situation. Stop the naysaying, and be positive. He will give us the money. Tell him he owes us. Ask him. Thank you.
Next 5 speakers are Jay Torres, Justin Sampson, Tim Johnson, Anita Coleman, and Stephanie, looks like Potts. Auden?
She knows who you meant.
Hi, good morning. I'm Joy Torres, and I'm actually representing MHSA, our statewide advocacy. So I am, as an advocate today, I do wear many hats. One of them is this homeless issue. You know, I was homeless in 2004. I was assisted by the county through the MHSA programs, and I'm going to tell you, as a person with lived mental health experience, drug addiction, trauma, I mean, everybody deserves help. But how can I have compassion for somebody who has to piss outside in front of children?
Yeah.
Slam needles in front of children, or be put in a tent.
Thank you for
When I was homeless, there was just the armories. Since then, we have many options.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning, welcome. Just a little bit to your left. There you go.
Thank you. As you've all heard from various community members here, unfortunately, I want to remind everyone that the lack of urgency that this board has shown over the past several years has resulted in this. The homeless issue has spiraled out of control. You've hoarded hundreds of millions of dollars and done absolutely nothing to solve this issue. Shame on you. We are demanding solutions now. And if you want to talk about public safety, as many of these people are concerned with, here's a solution. Let's get these people housed. Let's put them into permanent supportive housing. Let's put them in a place, put wraparound services, and allow retraining for them to live in society again. Please help these people. Housing is a human right, and we will make sure we will hold you accountable. This is an election year. We will see to it that you uphold your 10-year plan and that you keep the promises you've made to homeless individuals and to taxpayers of this county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Stephanie Otto. I'm a resident of Laguna Niguel. I support the current effort to rescind the March 19th action, and I support the comments made by my mayor here, Elaine Genoway. Even if you rescind today, I am still very concerned about the homeless people that are living in my county, in tents, shuffled around all over the place. I believe it's inhumane. Your solution must involve walls and a roof and the accompanying social services. I understand the delicate balance between offering services that may attract out of the area homeless versus giving compassionate services to those in need. I do not envy your duty to solve this problem, but it is, with the cooperation of cities, your duty to solve this problem. I was appalled to hear that supervisors have been not spending, I've heard a lot of different numbers, 185 million, many million for this problem. You now have the political will to spend the money on the problem. Please do it, and do it with a plan. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tim Johnson. I'm a resident of Santa Ana here. Welcome to downtown Santa Ana, everyone. Unlike a lot of residents or folks in this room, we don't need to close our eyes to envision what a homeless population looks like. We live it every single day. The Courtyard homeless shelter is within a half mile of over 6 schools, including one that you could throw a baseball at, and I'm not a baseball player. It's within 200 yards of 2 other schools, an elementary school and a high school, 2 high schools. This is unacceptable. The load needs to be shared. Our kids are not worth any less than your kids in Irvine, Laguna, or Huntington Beach. The load needs to be shared. Open your eyes, don't close them. We do not need to imagine what is going on. If the board believes that the Irvine and Laguna sites put kids in danger, how do you justify the courtyard that is right outside these doors that everyone is going to drive by? How do you justify that?
Can't be justified.
The kids walk by there as they go to school. If you're concerned about kids in Irvine, you need to be concerned about the kids here. Thank you very much.
The next 5 speakers after Anita Coleman are Jennifer Ashworth, Thomas Fielder, Santoshi Reddy, Arthur Schaper, and Elena Poop.
Vice Chair.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. I am Anita Coleman and I have lived in Irvine for almost 25 years. I'm here today primarily to make 3 points, many of which have been made. One is to affirm and applaud
Kim,
you and to
hold
also
this for
say
me.
I really admire you after being here today. I'm glad I'm not there. Thank you for keeping at it, not giving up, and making a commitment to work with Judge Carter and the cities to end homelessness in OC. 2, we are here today, with this no tent city business because of a housing shortage also. Cities are always saying, not in my city, not in my backyard, no more, but we have a housing shortage, and that's contributing to this. County must continue to work hard with cities to loosen zoning regulations, and all cities in Orange County need to increase their housing production so we can lower the cost of living throughout the county. Every city needs to accept its fair share of the homeless population, which is a survival issue. 3, integration, not segregation of the homeless people is the answer, and this means we need to accept the essential humanity of people, and cities need to build a full spectrum of housing, including permanent supportive housing, of which we have none in Irvine, although we have affordable housing. Thank you.
Got it, thank you. For the amateur timekeepers, we can all see the right light.
Okay. My name is Arthur Schaper. I'm really surprised that the board proposed 3 sites, and knowing that 2 of them were toxic dumps. It seemed like Laguna Niguel was going to get dumped on immediately. So that really bothers me right there. I'm going to say this now. Housing is not a human right. That's right. Okay, yeah. It is a property. It is a matter of access. And expecting the government to solve every single problem is precisely why we're in the mess we are right now. We have seen the state of California run by Democrats for 39 out of 40 years. They have turned California into a shithole, and that's why you see it here in Santa Ana. Now, if Santa Ana residents, especially the politicians, don't like that they've been dumped with this problem, there's a simple solution. Revoke the sanctuary city policy. That's why the illegals are coming. And frankly, we have other states are dumping their homeless here because of all the goodies. It's time to cut them off and stop acting as if the government's going to have all the answers. Oh, and by the way, Dana, you run again, and if I could, I would have voted for you. No, it's not. Grow up. Bunch of communists. Put them in your house.
Batter up. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jennifer Ashworth. I live in the city of Orange, where I own a house and pay taxes, the same as everybody else in the county, not less, not more. I read an article in the Register, and I thought, oh look, they're going to put some land in Irvine to the homeless people to build a tent city or get a shelter out there, and what a super good idea. But then, a couple days later, I read this article that said, no, not in our city, not in our city, because they're going to hurt our children. Well, guess what?
Nobody's coming
Everybody
back, though.
has children. Everybody has grandchildren. Everybody has houses that they paid for. Everybody has the same concerns. And I've lived in Orange all this time with the homeless people down in Riverbed. And I gotta tell you, my property value has only gone up. It hasn't gone down. There has been no reported crimes against children in my city while I've been there, and the homeless people have been down the way in the riverbed. But I know of, they haven't accosted anyone, killed anybody, kidnapped anybody, or taken anybody away.
All right, thank you.
Yes, they have.
Appreciate you coming today.
Thank you, supervisors, for giving me this opportunity to address you guys. My name is Santoshi Reddy. I heard about this decision to rehouse the group of individuals in Irvine last Tuesday, and I want to tell you that this decision has turned the life of our community upside down since that day. First and foremost, I want to say that the homeless and the mentally sick must be given every assistance that we can. I would like to also state that this issue deserves our collective focus, and we must work collaboratively to find a solution for this problem. This is not a city-specific problem. It is a county-wide problem, even a statewide problem. Perhaps the state of California should declare a state of emergency to get more funds to find more solutions. Moving people from one city to another is simply moving the problem around. It looks like this is playing musical chairs. I'm happy that Santa Ana got cleaned up. I've heard horror stories from my neighbors in San Clemente and AV. If it was not okay for Santa Ana to have this homeless camp, how is it right for Irvine?
Thank you.
How is it right for Huntington Beach? How is it right for Laguna Niguel?
Exactly.
Just housekeeping, I don't know how many people are here for our other items. We have about 28 speakers remaining. I know that the board is going to be very brief.
Yes.
When we get to this.
Please.
And we'll vote, but just so you can look at the hour, it's 20 to 12, so this will be the last item we get to before we break for lunch. We'll go into closed session, and then we'll come back. So if you're here on another business item, we understand it's okay to get up and leave. We'll be back after lunch, and just try to guess in advance. Let's assume that we'll be back here at 1:30 after we break on this item. Go ahead, sir. Sorry for the interruption.
Hi, my name is Thomas Fielder. I have owned a home in Anaheim for nearly 30 years. Mr. Nelson, I'm in your district. And I've been working with the homeless for about the past year or so, on and off. And I am shocked at the number of people in this room who seem to think that people without a home are magically dangerous, sex offenders, drug addicts.
They are.
I have met them. I have talked to them. And I suggest all of you do too. You'll find that they are, they want a home. If they refuse services, it's because those so-called services, like shelters, are more like prisons.
Well, that's
I wouldn't want to go into one of them. And granted, they're supposed to be temporary, but I don't see any plans for anything permanent. So, thank you.
After Elena Pooh, the next 5 speakers are Brian Law, Robert Loughton, Ben Wade,
You gotta go?
Peter
Okay.
Katz, and Irma Macias.
Good morning.
Too bad.
Still by 17 minutes.
Genevieve Peters, a 30-year resident of California, 8 of those in Orange County. The fact that we have the homeless problem here in the United States of America is an absolute disgrace. We are the richest country in the world, and to have people homeless is horrendous. But let me tell you this, it does not lie on your shoulders. It lies on the shoulders of Sacramento and each one of the voting residents in this state that continue to elect people that push people out because there's too many regulations on businesses, there's too many taxes that are on our gas, you name it. They're continually making a culture and a system that pushes the middle class out. You also have a drug problem, which means we need to secure our borders.
Yes.
Stop having the drugs come over
Yes.
and force our citizens to be homeless. Thank you for all you do.
Democratic Party
Yes.
of California.
Build that wall. Build a wall for us.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. My name is Elena. First, I need to thank you, Ms. Bale and Ms. Steele. Thank you so much for changing your mind within this 1 week after all the search and the investigation. So you changed your mind. Thank you for that. And thank you, Ms. Todd, and thank you for supporting our residents. I think the problem here is two sides. Homeless people needs to be addressed and needs to be helped. They need a better place than the open area tent city. And our residents, we need to be helped. I work in LA town downtown, 5th Street. Every time I drive through the 8th Street and see all these homeless people, it's just a really disgrace for our city and our state, to have all this with the richest, state in the, almost the richest state in the States. So please help all these people. We don't want to see within LA County, we have over 50,000 homeless people. Over 50% are with the drug problem or addiction problem. So please help those people get off the street and have better solution. As Orange County, the most richest county in the world, we should have better intelligence and a better solution for our people. Thank you so much.
I happen to have an American flag I could borrow. No.
This is a problem right here. Sanctuary state.
Yes.
Right. In California, it's
yes.
Unconstitutional. We ought to jail everyone in Sacramento that voted for this.
Yes.
Behind bars.
Lock them up.
That is the problem. We need to get rid of the politicians in Sacramento that are not following the Constitution of the United States and the one of California. That's right. So, my point being is that we need to stop what's going on in Sacramento. Yep. We have to vote in people that are going to work for the American people, period.
Amen.
The American people.
Lower our taxes.
So, this is what we have to do. Get rid of them. Now, you people are also elected. I hope you do the right thing. The reason why we have the homeless problem is one of them is we're giving DACA and illegals the right to go to college, medical, and everything else. We need to stop that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Americans first.
Preach it. Preach it.
Welcome, sir. It's a little sporty today.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Brian Law. I'm a resident of Irvine. I come to you before today as a concerned citizen, voter, taxpayer, and homeowner. I represent thousands of other residents who are unable to be here because they are at work. Like many other residents who live there, we want a safe city. Today, I ask that you reject any plans to build a tent city, shelter, or any other homeless facility in the city of Irvine, as well as help the homeless with all your services that you can provide. One of the arguments that the county has is that it's zoned for a homeless shelter. And even if this was true, this site was zoned as a shelter many years ago. What is also true is that the county has had the opportunity to develop and build a shelter on this land, but the Board of Supervisors have failed to act. Instead, this land has remained vacant, and while the rest of the surrounding vacant lands have developed into beautiful parks and homes. In conclusion, I ask that you address this homeless issue and have all the cities in Orange County contribute. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Morning. I'm Robert Welton. There is no solution for your homeless problem. At the federal level, the Democrats are fond of importing poverty from all over the world.
Exactly. Yes.
And the Republican Party are always increasing the H-2 visas for semi-skilled workers that displace American workers. So they're both at fault. And when a person is homeless, he has no job and he cannot afford any type of rent or pay the utilities for affordable housing. there's no such thing as affordable housing if you don't have a job. Okay, and then you're not going to get any help from Sacramento because homeless people don't vote, and they have no. Okay, time's up. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Pay no taxes. Come on, Heidi, good job.
Heidi Zimmerman, 55-year resident of Anaheim. I don't see anybody here from Anaheim. Why do we get all the homeless in all of Orange County pushed into Anaheim?
Yeah.
Shame on you, Huntington Beach. Your police officers push the homeless into the Fountain Valley camp, and then the county pushes the Fountain Valley camp up into Anaheim. Shame on all of you, from all of you cities who push your homeless into Anaheim. These are American citizens, they're disabled,
No, they're
and
not.
shame on you for hate speech. Todd Spitzer, I'm talking to you, pay attention, stop lying to the media. These are not criminals. They are, yeah, you can look at me one time, but you know what, it's being revealed. Do you know who pays Todd Spitzer the most? The prison lobby, look it up. He is unhappy that the federal judge has said that he can't put people in jail anymore for trespassing. Shame on you. You just want people in jail. You don't want to provide real housing. That's what this is all about. Look it up, everybody. Look who pays Todd Spitzer. The prison lobby. And you can all witness to each other. You're all getting money from the prison lobby, the sheriffs, so that people go to jail where you get money back from them. You're making a mockery of the United States. Shame on you.
Lord of mercy. Oh, unhinged. Too much emotion.
Good morning, I'm Peter Katz, 55-year resident of Santa Ana, and I sit on a board that oversees all the neighborhoods in Santa Ana. And we've seen this problem now spreading into our neighborhoods, and soon will be in all the neighborhoods of the county. To say that this is a temporary problem, and you're surprised, you received a letter on May 17, 2016, 2 years ago to the day almost, from the Superior Court judge complaining about jurors not getting jurors coming to the courthouse because of the homeless problem in the Civic Center. So to say that this is not new, but I have a temporary solution. You need to contact the governor and declare a state of emergency so we can open up that 100-acre facility in Costa Mesa State Mental Hospital that's been vacant for almost 50 years.
Wow.
And create a temporary wraparound service. And you need to, instead of fighting with each other in this county, you need to get together and create a legislative body to force Congress to create a national GI bill for housing. It was done for GIs after World War II. It can be done to put a roof over every American in this country. Every American deserves to have a roof over their head.
Peter, thanks.
You're welcome. And we cannot use 10-year-olds to brainwash our community. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you everyone for allowing me the time to speak. My name is Irma Macias, resident of Santa Ana for 44 years.
Orderly.
Volunteering in my community has given me the opportunity to see the ins and outs of Santa Ana. We represent 60,000 students that share the burden of the issue that we are here today. Homeless, it is a problem. It's a problem for these individuals that need a respectful home, but everyone is saying not in my backyard. What makes you think that Santa Ana wants to see this going on every single day? You've been here for how many years? Just cross the streets, left, right, north, south. You can see them all. Unfortunately, no one wants to take care of the responsibility of our kids, who, for me, deserve the opportunity. I am passionate and compassionate about the life of these individuals. Unfortunately, they have the choice already. Resident of Santa Ana for 44 years, volunteered, and we represent the 64 neighborhood associations here in Santa Ana, and I'm here in favor of Judge Carter. Thank you.
After Ben Way, the next 5 speakers are Karen Cook, Kenneth Batiste, John Christina, Shandoa Palboina, and Suresh Palraj.
Hello, I have a member of my family has been homeless, chronically homeless for years. We've thrown good money after bad after her. We bought her places to live. We bought her cars. We've thrown all kinds of money at her. And she's just a chronically irresponsible flake. And the only thing we could do for her is to give her hard love. And so we turned our back on her. And if people can't take care of themselves, it's not the responsibility of the state. That's all I had to say. And I'd like to say it's an honor I wish I lived in Dana Rohrbacher's district so I could vote for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also I'd like to say secure our borders.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, I'm Karen Koch, and I'm 73 years old, and I've never protested in my life until today. I think we can all agree that the tent city, oh, by the way, I live in Irvine, and I live in Cypress Village, across from the Great Park, and I'm here to protest the tent city in Great Park. To put 400 people in that small area is just unhealthy. They don't even have food and water, and how are they going to go to the store? I mean, I used to live in Santa Clara, which has a terrible homeless problem.
Yep.
I lived two miles from Apple's new headquarters, and I would constantly walk down the street and I would see homeless people, but they were onesies and twosies. And you know, some of those homeless people were nice. They had a dog and he was really pleasant. But there was one homeless person, I was walking down the street and a policeman was hassling this homeless person. And after he hassled the homeless person, I was like, maybe as far as that sheriff was, the policeman came up to me and he told me, he said, lady, he said, that homeless man has bugs, he has mental problems, and it's not safe for you to even walk past him.
All right,
so he got me in the police car and I drove around him.
Thank you.
And also one other thing.
Ma'am, no, there is not another thing.
There's 10
Thank you for your comments.
on the waiting
Appreciate you
list.
coming today.
Y'all did the best you could.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Suresh Paulraj. I'm a resident of Irvine for a decade. I'm here to oppose the move to have tent city in Irvine, or for that matter in Orange County. On hearing the news, as a concerned citizen, I started online petition. In 24 hours, I have like 5,000 supporters. And City of Irvine started online petitions. Together we have 25,000 people opposing this tent city in Irvine or Orange County. Please take a note of that. You know, people are not happy about this. They want a permanent solution to this end. My question to you, many cities in Orange County are safer cities. Do you want to keep it that way or not? The second question I have, are you really concerned about people, their health, and the environment? The people, right? And the third point I have is, don't tell me that you are given very less time by Judge Carter, right? That decision will impact thousands of people. Make sure you take time, work with the city officials, work with people, and make sure that it happens.
Thank you for your comments.
In conclusion, the city lacks
Thank you for your
site lacks infrastructure and amenities.
This is Chandrasekhar Pallivaina, a resident of Irvine. Okay. We love homeless people. Okay, we are empathetic. We are passionate. We have been doing the service, and we are doing a food drive as an Indian community, and a lot of organizations like TASC and HANA. So I mean, that doesn't mean, okay, I personally go to the Santa Ana homeless shelter and then did many times food drives and all, brown bag brigades and all. But that doesn't mean that we are welcome them into our backyard or like in our children's school yard, okay? So, I mean, this decision is completely unfair. I mean, think about it and come up with a amicable solution for everyone, okay? I mean, we are not against homeless people. We are not the hate group of homeless, okay? We are compassionate and empathetic. Think about it.
Thank you, sir.
After John Christina, the next 5 speakers are Dong Ping Huang, Tim Houchin, Vern Nelson, Darren Veracruz, and John, I'm sorry, I cannot read your last name. John F. starts with the last name starts with B. Becca? John Becca.
Mr. Houchin, come on forward. Welcome.
How you doing? Doing well.
Thank you.
Look, good morning, almost good afternoon, supervisors. My name is Tim Houchin, formerly homeless, and matter of fact, slept on the other side of that wall. for
I didn't
several
hear
weeks
it.
in 2011. Today I live in Anaheim, and I'm executive director of a nonprofit organization called Hope for Restoration. I'm an advocate for home solutions that benefit the lives of persons experiencing homelessness, and also an advocate for our communities that have been so severely impacted by homelessness. I'd like to commend, this board for recent decisions and financial commitments that have been made that would provide additional permanent supportive housing as a means of addressing the countywide homeless crisis. Despite the diversity of opinions that many of us share on a host of social issues, I think that most and many of us will agree that Orange County is a great place to live.
Thank you, Tim.
Anyway, we need to reduce the fear mongering, and I'm calling on our leaders, our great county and our great cities, to help reduce the fear
They should have a
mongering.
switch to shut it off. That would solve the problem.
Mr. Nelson, welcome.
Hello,
Occupy
Mr.
Orange.
Nelson. Vern Nelson from Anaheim. Thank you, Supervisor Nelson and Joe, wherever you are, for a few sensible comments recently. I don't know why everything has to be done at the last minute, but I hope you can all get this figured out. I can see how intractable it is. There's a lot of hate crimes and vigilante violence that happens to our homeless people. Recently, someone got burned, and they tried to burn him to death, and there's another guy going around in Anaheim shooting at the homeless.
Ooh.
And that's why it really doesn't help when one person who seems to have authority, a supervisor who's running for district attorney, talks about them all being sex offenders, or a lot of sex offenders. We watched you use that phrase 5 times in Laguna Niguel, and it works that way when you repeat it. Later, the next day, we find out that no sex offenders were going to be sent to Laguna Niguel or Irvine, and that there's very few. The percentage is very few. So today, purporting to walk it all back, you say that you looked into the numbers and you know what they are, but he didn't say. And you changed the subject to felons who took off their GPS. That's really skillful fear-mongering.
That isn't fear mongering, it's a real fear.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon. My name is John Beck. I'm a 34-year resident of Irvine. I live within walking distance of the Great Park. I have 2 12-year-old granddaughters who play soccer directly across from the proposed site. Incidentally, that's 294 feet away. It's less than the distance of one soccer field. Can you imagine the cost of the lawsuits to the county when it inevitably happens, which it will? There'll be problems because of this encampment. Especially when the courts take note of the warnings you've received here. There are 112 charities in Orange County and 17 in Irvine who can help those who want to be helped. To claim that the residents of Irvine are just a bunch of NIMBYs is disingenuous at best.
Yeah.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
We are considering actions that will undoubtedly affect.
John,
Yes,
thank you for
I
your
see.
comments. I do appreciate it. Sorry about the time constraints. No problem. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you. I see a lot of new faces in the room today that are now interested in this homeless issue, and I welcome you. Orange County does have a homeless population, and it affects all of its 34 cities, not only Huntington Beach, Irvine, and Laguna Niguel. I'm glad that we can somewhat agree that the problem lies before us, this board, and its members before it. So now we have 5,000 people approximately on the streets, homeless, living in shelters, housing, temporary housing. 300 of which die each year. I can assure you that none of these homeless people are dangerous. They are just poor. Since when has it come to pass that homeless and poor people are equated with danger? Please talk to the many people in this room that understand this issue, that have been following this issue for many years. Shelter in South County is needed. It is part of the mix. These are not going to be tent cities with no facilities, no water. These will be supervised and managed facilities. I'm also asking the elected officials here today that spoke earlier to combat the hateful rhetoric against poor people.
Thank you,
They
sir.
are not a danger to our society.
After Don Ping Huang, the next 5 speakers are Linda Olin, Mike Islioda, Stuart Caldwell, Stephen Katsubo, and Brigitte. Rashida, we talked. Yeah, that's a duplicate.
Next 5.
Klubnikin, you're up. Not sure what happened to everybody else, but.
With all due respect,
The man who
people,
thinks he's
you
a
guys are being conned. You really think they had a vote on Monday and voted the way they did, and Spitzer goes to the Irvine City Council, I'm going to sue the Board of Supervisors? You think that's real? They use the homeless to get the election. People, wake up. Status quo, no. Silent as a church mouse, election rearing its head. I'm the homeless czar, ex-public offender. Who's an ex-public offender? Oh, gee, Peyton Switzer. Oh, gee, and he sues the board. Wake up, people. This is theater. They want you to come. Go Google Phil Hendry. Phil, I'm a nurse, and I've been a nurse for 40 years, Phil, and I've killed 6 of my patients. I killed one last night. And if any nurse doesn't say that, and then all these nurses call the phone there, I'm a nurse, I've never killed anybody.
Thank you for your
Theater.
comments.
The last speaker is Al Soley.
It does make sense.
Al, sorry to put you in that spot, but good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Al Soley. I'm an immigrant. I'm 71 years old, and I'm still working, and I plan to work another 9 years. A friend of mine told me homelessness is very simple. You miss 3 mortgages and you become homeless. So I'm trying to pay my mortgage. That's why I'm working. In 1989, I bought a house in Laguna Niguel to raise a family where my children were born. Laguna Niguel was a beautiful city with a nice library, Mr. Todd Spitzer, and with nice trails, very safe. That's why I moved to Laguna Niguel. In addition to all of those, there was a pile of dirt next to the courthouse in Laguna Niguel where I passed every day in front of it. And unfortunately, your predecessors and you have sat on top of that pile of dirt and had nothing to it, although our city brought a nice community center plan for it. So here is what I'm asking you. Please, Mr. Chairman, remove the red tape from the pile of dirt.
Thank you, sir. All right, Supervisor Bartlett.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So I think, CEO Kim, I think we need to clarify the whole issue with regard to the Mental Health Safety Act dollars. A number of the speakers had said that there was a large unspent fund, and can you kind of walk us through that? Because I know that programmatically we have programs and services where this funding is going to be allocated. So if you could walk the audience through that, that would be great.
Certainly. So the county receives revenue from the state through the Mental Health Services Act. Those dollars are received annually. The way in which we currently budget and allocate those funds is the county receives the funds in 1 year, and that fund carries over, and then those dollars are spent in the upcoming year. So we've had carryover dollars each year because of the way in which we budget and manage. And the reason why we do that is during the last Great Recession, we had a drop in revenue of almost 37%. And for us, we're trying to manage these mental health services at a fairly consistent and level amount of services from year to year. So we've been fairly conservative with that. Based on feedback from the board and based on discussions with the subcommittee that includes Chair Doe and Supervisor Bartlett, we've been directed to budget those funds and utilize them as they come in. And following the actions from the board over the last several months, we've allocated the majority of those carryover dollars to date. The board has allocated $90.5 million of those carryovers to support permanent supportive housing, as well as other housing options for the mentally ill. We've also cited the Anita Street property for a crisis stabilization unit. Our current estimate of those costs to acquire and renovate is approximately 26 to 27 million. So there's about 116 million of that carryover dollars that have been allocated. It will take time it'll take cooperation and collaborations with cities to allocate those funds, because as we all know, the majority of the land use planning and the locations for housing options exist within cities. So our goal is to work very quickly with cities and try to identify ways in which we can put that money into play to create the kind of housing that is necessary.
Right, and can you explain, we have a balancing act with regard to the MHSA dollars. We have over 200 mental health programs, is that correct?
That is correct. We have over 200 programs that are currently funded. Not all of them are geared toward homeless. It's really for the mentally ill at all different stages of life throughout Orange County. The board recently had directed my office to retain a consultant to do a performance audit of that program. My understanding is that contract will be executed today, so we expect to work through that and provide the board with a report on how these different programs are performing, so that your board may make decisions on policy and direct our office to utilize and direct those dollars in the way that is most efficient.
Okay, so I think it's really important to clear the record that, you know, with the comments that we haven't known about the money or that it's been held negligently. We basically have been very good stewards of the dollars, and we have specific plans to move the dollars forward into projects and services. You know, we created the mental health ad hoc in 2015, and we've always recommended for using the MHSA dollars for crisis stabilization centers, and in 2017, I requested the board allocate $5 million specific to permanent supportive housing. That was approved, and the board allocated another $15 million in January of 2018. We just need to be more entrepreneurial about using the permanent supportive housing dollars, which I think we are. And we've got on the table today another $70.5 million pending approval. And with the city's cooperation, we can certainly start to spend those dollars. The county has, of course, limited parcels, and we have projects, I think, that are coming forth from a lot of our city partners, which is great. But of course, without collaboration, we can't successfully implement any short or long-term solutions. And you know, we've listened to the constituents and partner cities, and I appreciate everyone for being here today. It's very clear that we had a hasty decision and a process that we need to fix. And we need to kind of hit the reset button at this point, and I fully support that. So I'd like to make a motion to move all three recommended actions on the agenda today, which includes 1, the rescission of all actions from the March 19th meeting. 1. 2 is to authorize the expenditure of the $70.5 million. And 3 is to authorize staff to execute a contract with the American Family Housing Company. And that is my motion. Second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Supervisor Spitzer?
Supervisor Bartlett, I support the motion. I think I said that even before the taking of public testimony. But there's a lot of people here that I do represent, and they came in the busloads today. And what they want to know in the city of Irvine, because they've been reading mixed messages, is that this rescission today could be interpreted to put everything back to status quo, but then in several weeks they might have to come here all over again if the plan's going to be to push every single bed into a tent city in Irvine. Can you represent that your intent in asking for our support is that you've listened to what the speakers have said today, and that the sentiment is we're not pushing tents into any community? Is there any kind of commitment coming from the board today, and you in particular, in that regard?
Yes, so Supervisor Spitzer, thank you for the question. Today, I am supporting the rescission on all 3 parcels, Huntington Beach, Laguna Niguel, and the city of Irvine. I know that we have the April 3rd meeting coming up with the city managers and the Judge Carter in his courtroom. And I think it's great to get everyone together. We've got to work cooperatively and collaboratively and let the group at large come up with some good decisions for ending homelessness here in Orange County. So yes, I'm very clear about not utilizing Irvine, Huntington Beach, and Laguna Niguel. There are various reasons those parcels are not appropriate. Thank you.
Through the chair, that's a very, very important statement for all of you to hear, and that's important that you commend her. Look, I would just say this is a very important step, very supportive. I would just ask everybody to continue to remain vigilant and watch every single thing we do. Because I take this at face value, but the fact is that,
especially me,
I'll say it again and then close, and that is that tents don't belong in any community. And we have a responsibility to Santa Ana. It's not Santa Ana's burden to shoulder the problems
And the sanctuary city.
that have plagued this county for a very, very
Sanctuary city.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any opposed? All right, if there are no opposed, that passes with all members present. That moves us to the closed session. We'll adjourn. I know we have some speakers. It's my understanding we have at least 10. Madam Clerk, what do we have a request to pull?
Yes, supplemental closed session 2.
All right, are all the requests to speak on that item?
Yes.
Vice Chair, Congressman Dinaldo wants to speak before we go to closed session.
On.
Wow, so much hate. Yes.
So, well, first and foremost, all right, so, folks, knock it off. It's not helpful. We'll manage this. Talk yourself out of a victory would not be a good idea, so relax. All right, so first things first, all the requests to speak are on SES 2. That is similar, but not exactly the same item we just went through. So in an effort to hope that we don't just repeat what was just been said, my fear is that that's exactly what's going to happen. But with that said, why don't we pull the speakers up on that item first, which is conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. The name of the case is Orange County Catholic Worker et al. Versus the County of Orange. And I believe Madam Clerk is at 10. All right, so why don't we go with 2 minutes each? That'll put us basically for the next half hour on those items. First speakers.
First 5 speakers are Darren Veracruz, Thomas Fielder, Margaret Sharp,
They're all leaving.
Margaret Denges,
All right.
and Jordan Hoiberg.
Look at them all. Okay.
Aren't you guys concerned about sanctuary cities?
No, I don't.
Large outpouring. Yeah, we got to make sure to come back. Come back and support the end of sanctuary state. That's the reason why Santa Ana is a shithole.
When is that going down?
It's 14A.
If you wouldn't mind making your way to the mic.
It's item 14A.
My name is, once again, Darren Veracruz. I'm a homeless advocate, and I'm also an attorney. I've been working with some of the individuals in this case regarding Orange County Catholic Workers versus Board of Orange County Catholic Workers versus City of Orange.
They just care about
What I've been
themselves.
doing with a lot of people in this room is tracking down the population that
Yes.
belongs to motels.
Thank you so much. We need your help to end sanctuary state. They're going to rescind sanctuary state, SB 54. They're going to do it after the meeting. After their closed session, they're going to talk about it probably about 2 o'clock. Okay, so we need to hear
The idea that people refuse services
go get lunch and come back 1:30.
The many people in this room to my left, we work daily to ensure
Extra
that people
handles.
that have been referred to shelter
It's loud in
have
there.
gotten into homes, getting into mental health services, these FSP programs we talked about.
Do you have like a YouTube channel or anything?
Yes, I do. Arthur Christopher Schaper. I'll give you my card.
And I guess in closing, just letting you know that April 3rd will
Just
be
put
a
in my
very
3 names.
interesting
You'll
day,
find my
but
YouTube channel.
We know
Thank you.
that none of you guys can really be trusted. You've spent years with talk and no action. And
Just
it's
nobody wants
interesting
to
now
do
that, yes,
anything.
as
Did he give it back to you?
Victor said that Judge Carter is a catalyst, but we can still see you dragging your feet. We can still see you making messes of a policy. Shelters were needed in South County, and now because of the way you've gone about it, you've outraged the population. You need to combat the rhetoric and convince the constituencies of all of Orange County that shelters are needed, that we all need to, that all residents need to step up and step in, and that the facilities that are being proposed is not going to be a replication of the riverbed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It is the same topic. They're talking about the same thing.
Hi, Thomas Fielder, resident of Anaheim. As I said before, I've been working with the homeless now off and on for about a year. I've met many of them personally, spent time talking with them. I wonder how many of our Board of Supervisors have done that. How many of you have actually visited shelters and talked to people, or visited people in motels and talked to them, and found out why are they refusing to go to a shelter? Gee, let me see. You have to give up most of your possessions. If you have pets, usually you have to give up those. If you have a spouse or a partner, forget about any kind of intimacy. Normally, these places are segregated by sex. People can't see their children.
Beggars can't be choosers.
There are so many reasons why people should reject shelters that it doesn't surprise me that some of them do. Not many, but some do. And we also know from a recent hearing that Judge Carter held that there are hundreds of millions of dollars that could be spent on this problem. And just in interest alone, Judge Carter's team found close to $40 million in interest alone each year that should be earmarked for this and isn't being spent. And this is unconscionable. So step up, do your jobs, and spend the money.
All right, next speaker, please.
Margaret Sharp, Morgan Digis, Jordan Hoiberg.
Hello again. One thing I want to mention about in this whole process about with the people being moved out of the motels, we have 4 options. One of them is the shelters. And like the gentleman just before me mentioned, it's not, I mean, the majority of these people are being fit to check that box. But it's not a safe place if you have any kind of mental issues for vets, post-traumatic stress disorder, plus the fact of that it's, these people are crammed in there. You're, hearing sounds all through the night, and noises and smells and all sorts of different things. I don't think anybody here would want to spend one night in a shelter. So, for people to say that people are refusing services, proper services aren't being provided. What we need is permanent supportive housing. Fairview Developmental Center could house all these people. You all, have talked about this before. That needs to be used. It could solve all these problems. It would provide a safe place. You could have police around there so there wouldn't be probably, issues with the surrounding areas, and we save taxpayers millions of dollars. But yet we have tent cities. We have people in shelters.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The last 5 speakers are Pat Davis, Janine Robbins, Alex Yeman-Liu, Kenneth Batiste, and Lisa Pedersen.
Heidi Zimmerman, I'm speaking on behalf of Jordan. This whole treatment of the 700 people in the riverbank is a joke. I know these people myself, hundreds of them are back on the street. So when you sit here and count how many beds are available, you're forcing people into shelters that makes them worse. They would prefer to be on the street. Why do they prefer to be on the street? Because the shelters, you people can't get your sleep, there's noise. You need to start treating these people as human beings. And it's a failure. The treatment of the 700 people in the riverbed is a failure. They're back on the streets. I know this for a fact in Anaheim. I know where they are. They're hidden in little corners where they try not to be harassed by the police who give them 5 tickets for shopping cart, for feeding their own cat. The people are being pushed into dangerous areas, where the water goes, where the trains go, where the traffic goes. You need to give them permanent housing, real housing. I can't believe the lack of compassion and the hate speech that we're using. If you were to make these statements about other races or other religions, it's hate speech. You can't go around painting all these people as criminals or mental. In fact, I think some of you might have a mental issue yourself and drug out yourself. I mean, the way that you lie to the media. The way that you lie to the media, I mean, do you realize how you look when you even contradict yourself in the media? So, I mean, most of you should not be in office anymore. The way you're treating human beings, the way you don't spend the money right, yes, the way you're treating human beings, yes, and you're disappointed because you can't arrest people, and then we had to file 4 lawsuits against you so you can stop violating the Constitution. You knew you were violating the Constitution, and you did it anyways. You know you violate the Constitution, and you don't care. You shouldn't be in office, none of you.
Thank you.
Hello. It's a shame that it took 2 federal lawsuits to get us to this point where the basic plot was exposed of the hoarding of the money. Since that point, though, some supervisors have proceeded to engage in cover-up. Spitzer personally went around to multiple city council meetings last week claiming to have just discovered the aforementioned unspent taxpayer funds, despite having gone before the Anaheim City Council months ago to boast the hundreds of millions of dollars that were available to help the homeless population, but neither of the other 4 of you guys wanted to do it. Somehow Spitzer has deemed that not having done his job properly is more acceptable to the public than admitting that he simply didn't care enough to spend the tax dollars wisely. Like many of the people who are here, I will accept nothing less than a real plan. I believe everyone in this room has had enough of the board's temporary solutions, if solely because we no longer trust that anything will actually just be temporary. It's time for the supervisors to face the fury of those who have given them their positions of power. You have betrayed your constituents and neglected your duties to serve the communities that you represent. Moving people is not a solution. Tent cities are not a solution, and repeatedly saying they're all criminals is not a solution. Supervisors, the public has trusted you with their tax dollars and you failed to care enough to actually use them. It's time to change that. And for Dana Rohrbacher, who's here in the audience and wants to speak again, I want to talk really quickly about the Orange County.
You're going to speak on this item because
it is
that's
this
what
item.
stood up.
It is. The Orange County Health Agency Opioid Overdose and Death, 2017. The #1 city is Huntington Beach. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pat Davis. I live in Anaheim, and I've been one of those out in the streets working with many of these other amazing advocates. We spend every day, I think no day spend less than 12 hours at the motels, at the other end of bridges. And I want to compliment on some of the things that are going right. And having been a state employee, I don't envy what the county workers are in the middle of. I think they've been put in some pretty awkward spots, and I've been in their face, and I certainly apologize for that. But I've also witnessed some very wonderful exchanges between folks who've taken the moment to listen. Things that are going right, the DV piece looks really good, and I spent talking more about some of the other presenting issues that they didn't want to talk about before. The couples have been split up. It's a heartbreaker. I'm seeing them go to the streets instead of going to shelter. We're trying to bring them in. 12 places is great, but that's only going to be a drop in the bucket. And many of these couples are caregivers to each other. One may not present with mental health, but they are the caregiver that's going to make that treatment that much easier. Things I'd like you to revisit and make sure, and I know with the judge, some of these will come up, some of the assessments do need to be revisited. I think people were very protective, and no one has convinced me that any of those assessments have been adequate in terms of actual face time. We're trying to get several to your counseling centers and certainly helping that. Health concerns on top of mental health concerns. The places they're being sent, the old ladies working with several gangbangers who are trying to make a break from it, and I'm telling you, when I see a guy crying because he doesn't want to go to Bridges because he's afraid somebody's going to kill his girlfriend, I can't doubt that. But they're on the street, and I'm sure they look scary as heck, but they're one of the most gentle couples I've ever met. I've also got an 80-year-old that I assisted in placement yesterday. She was put on the street by one of our best foundations. I have no idea what happened, but she is, thank God, in a place last night, and we'll track her. Thanks
very much. All right, next up. Folks, come on now.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Lisa Peterson. I'm one of the committee members for the Poor People's Campaign in Orange County, and I'm one of the advocates for Housing as a Human Right Orange County Coalition. I urge you to create a fully funded housing trust fund to make your Housing First strategy a reality. We know that temporary tents and shelters are not a pathway out of homelessness. As we head into a new budget cycle, I urge you to commit some of your discretionary budget, which you control, to your Housing First strategy. A report by the ACLU of SoCal estimates that it would cost the county about $55 million to end homelessness by creating permanent supportive housing or affordable housing. You can nearly cover this cost with the $53 million increase in your discretionary budget of about $800 million for the 2017 and 18 fiscal year, which is a budget you control and choose how to spend. Thank you for your time and for listening to us all today, and may we all forward to put an end to homelessness.
Thank you for proving that you can actually make comments and get something done in a minute. Welcome, sir.
Thank you again. He who steals must steal no longer, but rather he must labor, performing with his own hands what is good, so that he will have something to share with one who has needs. Attitude, homelessness, lawsuits, more lawsuits. Who's benefiting? Seems like the attorneys are the ones that's going to be benefiting for a while until we go ahead and get this straight. But that comes back to the lack of the attitude of doing what it takes to go ahead and solve this problem. There's only one thing that's going to solve the problem, and it's going to go ahead and be housing. Nothing but housing is going to go ahead and solve homeless. It is the #1 problem in Orange County. The lawsuit that we're talking about. We had to file a lawsuit to go ahead and get the attention of the Board of Supervisors. No more lawsuits, but they are coming. And the attorneys are the ones that's going to go ahead and benefit, because we're going to have to take money from their funds to pay them when we should be building places for people to live. We need temporary places. We need to go ahead and go into permanent housing. We need to go ahead and make sure that we don't have any more lawsuits. We need to go ahead and make sure that we have a willingness to go ahead and get this done, because as you see today, this has grown into one big cluster. And I'm gonna leave the rest of it alone. Thank you.
All right, we do have an item on the closed session that is SCS 3 is, let's see, excuse me, SCS 4 is initiation of litigation. That's my request to go into closed session and discuss the option to intervene in the federal lawsuit. I believe Congressman Rohrabacher wanted to speak on that topic, so this would be the perfect time for that, sir.
Thank you very much for the courtesy of allowing me to participate.
Yeah, normally it's a 3-minute sort of window. You're the only speaker on this item, so have at it.
Well, I am here to encourage you, the Board of Supervisors, to officially oppose California's sanctuary state status as codified in SB 54.
Yes.
SB 54 prohibits local law enforcement from cooperating with federal law enforcement in removing illegal alien criminals from our communities. California Attorney General Becerra has even announced that he's willing to prosecute any civilians, any regular Americans and businessmen who cooperate with federal law enforcement in dealing with those who are here illegally. Well, let us just note this. The United States of America is made up of every race and every religion and every ethnic group. That's something we're proud of. But we are Americans and have to watch out for each other as a member of the American family, more than watching out for everybody else in the world, especially everybody else in the world who can make it here. By making us a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state, we are doing nothing more than attracting millions of more people to come to this country and to consume the very wealth that is being talked about today that's necessary for quality of life for the poor group of Americans. What this flow of illegals has done for our country is brought down, in our state, has brought down the quality of education, especially for the people who are the poorest of us all, and their children have to go to public schools.
Yeah.
We actually have health care that has been now brought down, the quality of health care, the quality of housing. We're talking about housing today. There is no way in the world, unless we can check to see if the people getting housing or are part of this homeless program are not here illegally. We have millions of people who are willing to come here to get these benefits. If we don't act rationally, all this talk about caring, we don't act rationally, we are hurting everybody, especially America's most poor.
Yep.
We spend $23 billion a year just in California to handle illegal immigrant benefits.
Yep.
Now, I'm sorry, that $23 billion could solve this problem.
Yes.
And
You have 3 minutes and you still have a minute.
With that saying.
Be quiet.
Okay, I would hope that the Board of Supervisors, thank you very much for considering the issue of voting against being part of the sanctuary city process in California.
Congressman, one interesting thing you bring up, and I know this is a sensitive subject, but when you Google Dianne Feinstein, immigration,
yep,
you hear a speech that sounds almost exactly like the one you just gave.
That's right.
I mean, it's uncanny how much things have changed or not changed
Yep.
in the last 20-some years. But
If we really care, we've got to use our heads on this, and we know that millions of more people coming here illegally, consuming these resources, is the greatest threat to the well-being of the very people we're talking about today.
Yep.
So thank you all very much.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, and folks, with that, we are going to recess.
Yes, they do. They sure do. You're probably some of them.
All right, we are going to now recess to close.
I think you should do that now.
First is CS1 Human Resource Services, the Conference of Labor Negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.
Okay, folks, you got to see it live and in person. Dana Rohrabacher speaking out against Senate Bill 54. Folks, I'm going to wrap up. I'll be back in an hour.
SES2, County Council, we have